It's the Blues on the streets.
Parade's complete.
And Gloria is the new queen.
You can't forsake your team in last place.
As they sang the Bruins to sleep.
My memory is scummy. What's this podcast that I'm in?
Man, last season's out again, and Rink Moose is back in.
Hey Pierre, what's wrong? What's going on?
No team's gonna cut you a deal.
Mitch said, hey Austin, you're awesome. Drop your pants and shock them. Now score like your team's freaking near.
Unfriggin' believable.
Sen's got no stars or snipers, but it's best draft in years.
At least fans can sleep easy because here comes Lafreniere.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 15
Whoa.
of the Rink Moose Hockey Podcast, an episodic podcast where two good friends gather around this table and discuss all things NHL and their implications in the fantasy hockey universe. I am one of your hosts, as always, Nick Costu, reporting from the Rink Moose studio here in beautiful Markham, Ontario, Canada. It is a late evening. I like these late evening shows. I don't know about you. Maybe you not so much.
I'm
but
sad.
I like them. And, yeah, well, tell us how you're feeling. You look a little subdued. Little sad.
Well, I'll tell you this, on the hockey front, I couldn't be any more sad. Like, I couldn't be any more turned off hockey right now. I mean, you were here when we were watching the Avalanche game. Yep. I had to take a couple moments outside. Like, I had to really rethink all that I thought about in life. Like, karma and what is right and what is good and does the good guy win?
Sure.
And we'll get into this. But, yeah, no, I've had a hard time recently, but I'm ready to get back on the bandwagon, back on the horse. But, yeah, we got to skip some of the pleasantries because we just saw a big Raptor win.
Yeah, huge win. They forced, the defending champions have forced a Game 7 against Boston. So, yeah, huge double overtime win. Yeah, it delayed us a good 30 minutes. So we're about to reach 10 o'clock here. So this is among the record books, latest time we're starting a show. But, hey,
yeah,
we will not, I promise you this, Rink Moose audience, family, friends of the show. We will not sacrifice the quality of the show.
Oh, God, never.
Never. It's a sin. So, without further ado, let's move on. We got an interesting week this week because, we're going to do the typical recap and preview of the rounds. We're now heading into the conference finals of each respective conference. But we got to touch on three big things. We've kind of put these topics aside. There's a lot of news this week, so I'm going to begin with the breaking news that you just broke to me. This is really breaking, about 15 minutes ago.
Yes.
You want to read me this tweet and get me disappointed here?
Yeah, so I lost the tweet, but essentially it is per league source, and it's a verified account. It's legit. Pierre Mcguire is no longer in the running for the Arizona Coyotes GM job.
Terrible.
It's a dream flushed down the toilet like so many good fish.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear the news that he was even in the conversation.
Oh,
but I was not surprised to hear this because every Mcguire GM rumor we've heard, whether it be Pittsburgh, Montreal, now Arizona, it's always just there for show. It's out there. Make the Mcguire fans like me get all excited for a couple days, and then just poo the rumors.
Yeah, you know what? I think my theory is that Mcguire wants exactly this. Mm-hmm. He wants his name to be out there for GM jobs. He gets credibility. People think he's a legit hockey guy, and then he's like, oh, actually, you know what? I don't want the job.
Yeah, he takes the high road.
I think he likes what he's doing. But he likes this GM reputation kind of thing going on so that he keeps his credibility.
And have you listened to the radio hits this week with him?
No.
So when they asked him about it on the radio, because of course they had to.
Yeah.
Same answer every time. His answer would just be, Well, I've just been here in the bubble for 2 months. I've been having a lot of fun, calling a lot of games, and that's been my life the last 2 months. That's what he says every time. It's like, so can you confirm or deny the reports? And he's just like, I will not comment.
What a fucking guy.
Every radio.
What a fucking guy.
Yeah. So
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's almost like to me it sounds like he thinks he has a chance. Because if you didn't think you'd have a chance, you'd be talking like outlandishly about it. But the fact you're holding your card so close to your chest, I think there was a part of him that thinks he was still in the running.
Yeah, well, now that brings up the big question: did he pull himself out, or did they just quickly squash it and say, "Hey, listen, you're not one of the finalists for the job"?
Right? Or we didn't like the way you answered that over the radio. You're done.
Oh yeah, imagine that.
Maybe I don't know. But
it was quick. You're right. Exactly that. It was quick for him to just come up, and then the next day, seemingly, he's gone. He's out of the picture.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in the past, how based on his reputation, based on how many relationships he has with players and coaches in the league, it almost would be tough for him to be a GM, right? He almost it's almost like how can you now be an adversary against all those people who you had to interview, who you had to you had to facilitate through the media, how do you walk that line?
Well,
it's tough.
Sometimes the way I see it is the GMs seem to be almost like a boys club, like they have a group chat, like a lot of these GMs I think are tight like that. Club. No, you know what? I don't think he is, and a guy like Dubas, I don't think he's part of it either. They were talking about this on the Steve Dangle show. And it just seems like he's the new guy in town, and he's not part of the chat yet, So
throw him anchors when he comes calling.
Exactly. So Pierre will have to go through that new GM stuff, because let's be honest, when you become a coach, when you become a GM in the NHL, you kind of go through the cycle, like you're in the system now, And they like to recycle guys who've been there, done that. It's super rare that we get a new guy coming in. Sheldon Keefe is one of those guys, and that. We all want it to happen. But will it ever happen? I don't know, Nick. I don't have too much faith anymore. But I want to see Pierre Mcguire take a team. I'd even watch him. I'd pay money to watch him do work at NHL 20 on BFGM, Yeah. I want to see what he does. Pick his brain.
Yeah, no, it's my longtime dream. I even said, had this happened, I would have bought an Arizona Coyotes Mcguire 19 jersey. I was ready to do it.
I got the perfect question for you. Would you rather have Pierre Mcguire enter the NHL as a coach or a GM?
Oh yeah, we've talked about this. I prefer coach, because you get to see the reactions. You get to see him on the bench every night. He's more of a personality. Coaches have more of a personality.
But a short shelf life, though.
And their lifespan's shorter. So I don't know. I'm willing to give him a short lifespan. Either he goes on a run or he's one of the the shortest tenured coaches of all time. GM, he's going to be in that seat at least 3 years, right?
Yes.
It's just the way of the business.
Exactly.
So,
me personally, I like to see the GM, because I want to see the brain at work.
More to evaluate.
Yeah. I think him as a coach and a tactician.
GM. Yeah.
I think maybe that's gone soft on him.
Yeah.
But the GM stuff, he seems to know his way around.
If he's getting any gig, it's going to be a GM gig.
Yeah.
But the reality of seeing him as a coach, I'd fucking love that.
Yeah.
All over that.
Agreed.
Okay. Next subtopic. What did you think of the Montreal trade? Montreal sends a 3rd round pick and a 7th round pick for friend of the show, Jake Allen.
Yeah. You know what? You're going to love this take. You're going to love, because not a lot of people have it. I'm seeing a lot of crap out there where a lot of Montreal fans are super happy about, it's a big cap hit, but you don't care because you have so much cap space and it's a good backup, and finally Price gets a rest. I don't like this deal. Not for cap reasons, not for cost, not for what they paid. I just don't think Allen is a good goalie. I think this last year was maybe a flash in the pan.
You don't buy the renaissance.
I don't buy the renaissance whatsoever, and I think especially in a market like Montreal, I could see him collapsing. I could see him being sent home again.
Yeah.
The spotlight's going to be on this guy. He doesn't strike me as a guy who handles pressure, and I see this guy going straight home for a weekend, just like he did that one time.
Yeah.
Go reevaluate your career, my friend. I don't like this, man. Everyone in Montreal is looking at this past season and going, oh, wow, 920 something.
behind a
there's
very
more to
strong defense.
There's more to it, exactly.
And a market where you're not asked to be the guy.
Yes.
Binning was asked to be the guy. In Montreal, you could argue he's being asked to be the guy because Price, you almost know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
He's going to give you your 55, 60 good games. It's the other 20 that are like up there, you know? This might be another Antti chapter where he's just run out of town.
And the big problem is everyone's hyping him as the best backup goalie Montreal's had in a long time. I don't see it that way.
These people just aren't watching enough games.
No.
They're looking at the main box score stats, goals against, save percentage, right? And they're just going off that.
And I wouldn't know that either unless you were such a Blues fan, and that's why I know it.
And I'd reported so much about his career. I've been following his career for so long. And hey, kudos to him. He's saying all the right things in his interviews. He's speaking very professionally. He's a good guy.
Sure, I'm sure he is.
He's a great guy from New Brunswick. You'd love him.
Oh, he's from New Brunswick.
Yeah, he's a very good guy. Newfoundland or New Brunswick? I get confused.
Not Newfoundland. I'm going to look it up right now. Keep going.
Yeah, because if he's a Newfie, you can almost tell, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure New Brunswick. Look it up. So yeah, good Canadian kid, always says the right things. A good backup guy, like a guy to have in the room. But at the end of the day, in Montreal, I think those intangibles don't matter. I think it's play on the ice, and I wouldn't be surprised if the fan base runs him out of town. It's only a 1-year deal. At least that's a saving grace.
Yes.
It's 4 year. It's a $4 million cap hit. If any team in the league can afford it, it's them, right? Because they have all the space. So the fit makes sense just because they have so much room and they need a backup so bad.
Yes.
I just think it's going to backfire.
Yes.
It's low risk, but it's going to backfire.
Yeah, it wasn't a big price or anything like that.
And they have so many picks this year anyways.
Yeah,
right?
They're not going to miss the pick. It's going to be jarring for the fan base. That's what I'm predicting.
Yeah.
And it is Fredericton.
And it's going to make Fredericton, yeah. So it's going to create a lot more drama in that hotbed. It's going to be fun. At least it's going to be entertaining.
And I'll get this out. I'm going to be rooting for him to succeed. I just don't see it happening. But I want him to see him do well. And
of course, Kyle's the resident Montreal expert. I'll give the St. Louis side here. To me, there's a number of things that come out of this. One, they're creating a lot of cap space. $4 million off the books. Now this guy called Ville Husso, who's been like this rookie up-and-comer guy. He was their goalie in Sacramento in the AHL. Or sorry, not Sacramento, San Antonio. He's always been ready to back up. So now is his time. I think they just want a cheap backup they only have to pay like $700,000 a year. And I think that's what they get here. And they think he'll be just as good as, if not better than Jake Allen. So good on them for that. Two, all the more faith in Binner. I know they only gave him the bridge deal, the 2-year, $4.5 million deal.
Yeah.
But to me, it looks like they're going all in because there's no other guy you're about to sign to a long-term deal.
Right.
I think it puts pressure on him to play well this year so we can get that long-term deal. They're almost saying, we want to like you. We want to pay you. We're doing everything we can to show you that. Just put together a good year for us.
Yeah.
You've shat on us in the postseason.
Yes.
Give us a year here,
Yeah.
So they're making him comfy, but not get too comfy, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that a little surprising, putting all that faith in Binner because I had my faith in him has crumbled.
But you got to understand. Let's say you're some fan in St. Louis. He's forever going to be beloved because of that cup, that run he put them on.
Right.
Regardless of the fact he fell in this round against Vancouver, he almost single-handedly won you a Game 7 in Boston to win the cup, right? And that will go down in folklore in the Bible books of St. Louis sports forever. He'll have a statue, maybe.
Wow.
So,
come on, man.
When you're that ingrained in that sports culture, you can't just get rid of the guy.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine what the fallout would be if they chose Allen over Binner.
Oh, God,
right?
that would never
It's
happen.
not an alternative. And there's no other alternative. You're not, I don't know, maybe they will sign an FA goalie, but I don't see it. So I think they're happy with him being the starter, and I think that Husso's going to get a shot as a backup. So that's observation 2. And then observation 3 is kind of interlinked to 1, which is, hey, Alex Pietrangelo.
Yeah.
Right? This frees up that space potentially. So right now it sounds like from my insiders in St. Louis that the talks haven't been going too well. Still slowly, very slow, nothing really building. So, but hey, if I were a betting man, I'd probably say he stays. Just 'cause he's the captain. He hoisted the cup for them. He's been there his whole career. The family's from there. Like, it just doesn't seem like a situation you move from. Unless he really wants to get a big payday. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, he seems more like the guy who's willing to take a discount and stay, as opposed to, I'm going to swing my big dick and go to, like, Toronto.
What the fuck?
You know?
To me, this seems exactly like a Stamkos situation of a few years back. Like Stamkos, maybe he wants to go to Toronto. Maybe he wants to test free agency, but no, he's gonna stay. I cannot imagine him going anywhere else.
He just doesn't look good in another uniform.
No,
you can't
exactly.
see it. He's one of those guys.
And he's happy. He's happy where he is. He's got a good situation. They'll make room for him. They'll do what they can to make room. So, yeah, I don't see that as much of a storyline. The Pietrangelo thing. They'll do what they can, right? Bozak might be out. That's what I've heard. He might be
Bozak?
Yeah.
The odd man out to free up space?
Yes.
Okay.
In terms
that
of
would
his
be
cap
interesting.
hit.
I know he's a light player there, so that would be neat.
Yeah.
All right, and then the third one, this one like way back, like I think this one happened like the day or two after the last show, so that's why like we didn't. That's why it feels so weird talking about it because it's so far away.
This was just over 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
But the Leafs make a trade, and they traded Kasperi Kapanen for
social media star
Pittsburgh's first round pick. And man, who's this big prospect they got back? Like he was like their top. He was like third in their organization.
Yeah, Nick, I wouldn't call him a big prospect. Like
he's third in their organization.
Yeah, but it's like the worst prospect pool in the NHL. Like this guy. He's barely worth mentioning from what I can... Like, I've never even heard his name brought up anywhere.
I heard he's okay. I heard he's like a Swedish centerman. Smart guy, works hard. He will be a player.
He will not touch the top 6 in his career. Ever. Not a chance. He'll top out...
I got a Philip Hollander. Does that sound right to you?
Yes.
Hollander?
Yeah.
So yeah, they get him, and then they get more no-name. They get like a David Warsawski, who's kind of no-name, and then an Evan Rodriguez, who you may remember from Buffalo.
Yeah, which is a throw-in, right?
Yeah, throw-in.
Plug into your fourth line if you want to.
He'll be like a Nick Patan. He'll fight for a spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Hollander guy looks like he can be like a third-line center moving forward. So they like him apparently. Like they were targeting him in an earlier draft. So. Doobie sees it as a win, and so they get him, the 15th overall pick, which, as we know, is an extremely strong draft. With that, like we were speculating when this trade happened. I think that puts them right in the range to get like a Braden Schneider.
That's what everyone's saying.
You don't like him.
Yeah, I don't like.
I don't think. Again, he's one of those guys. Doesn't really have a high ceiling. Know what you're gonna get.
Not a
sexy pick.
No, I don't mind him. It's just. For 50, I'd rather have a Caden Gooley.
Yeah, but you won't get. I don't think he's going to drop that far. There's a chance, but I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, if he's there, though.
If he's there, you take. Yeah, he's the better skater. He's got more offensive upside, and he still has that defensive presence, right?
But what I want is a Holloway
for the
Leafs,
and he's definitely in that range.
Yes,
I think he's certainly in that range.
Yes, I know they need the D, but.
He fits the mold of a player they need, right? So, and of course, he was my pick of my draft. Like, he was my sexy favorite guy in the first
number
draft.
10.
He's my number 10. So, I would be thrilled.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they let me down. And Dubas just seems like a off the board kind of guy. Like, I could see him stepping up to the podium, saying some name, and us going, "Who? Like who?"
Yeah.
I could see him doing that.
You know what kind of freaks me out? I could see Dubas going up to the podium and picking like a William Wallander.
Yeah,
and just absolutely ruining my life.
Exactly.
Absolutely ruining.
And then they ask him, and he'll be all confident. He'll adjust his glasses, and he'll go,
"Well,
really, you look at the numbers and the analytics. They don't lie. You look at the graphs I have in my office, and he's a star."
See, I got to get this out because Dubas made a home run trade. He absolutely washed Jim Rutherford, who must be like going through some mental trauma.
It's the definition of taking advantage of like an old man who's like on his deathbed and has to make a quick move, you know?
I was going to go there, but I didn't want to go there.
Not to get graphic, but that's essentially what you have.
And it's a great move by him, and I want him to if he nails this 15, like it will have restored some of my Leafs fandom.
Yeah.
But if he blows this, how do I come back from this, Nick? Like, honest to God. For me, getting rid of Kapanen was the perfect move. That's a perfect player to start this change. There's going to be more moves for sure. This is a great place to start. Pittsburgh's perspective, I don't know what you're thinking. I don't even know what you're starting to think. Like, Kapanen is not your answer to the youthful exuberance that you need, the jolt of energy. He's not the answer, man. Like, I'm telling you, this guy is like another Galchenyuk project to me. He's about to go on a string of teams. He's about to go on 5 different teams. That's my prediction. This guy is a travesty off the ice. Like, he's an absolute distraction on like social media and like off the ice kind of crap. And then he's not a top 6 guy to me. He's a very talented third line guy who will chip in every so often and get a shorthanded breakaway goal.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't see him as a guy who can be a mainstay on Crosby or Malkin's wing. Like, this is such a fucking blow from Rutherford. It sucks because it's a ticking time bomb to when Pittsburgh is going to be the worst team in the NHL.
Yeah.
It's a ticking time bomb, and it sickens me. Like, you have one guy, Samuel Poulin, who's a decent young guy. Maybe Nathan Legare as well, but you needed this 15th, man. You have to have something. And this just hurts for Kapanen.
Whoever you take at 15, they're going to take
I know, but
2-3 years to cultivate, right? Crosby is, in 3 years, I don't want to think about his game, where he is. I know. As harsh as that sounds, I don't. He had to make this move. It's the wrong guy to acquire.
Exactly. You got it.
That pick has so much value.
Yeah.
And it seems like he just rushed.
Why did you rush?
Like it sounds like he was just pissed. Like, you heard the comments, right? Shitting on Schultz. He's already said he's not coming back. Like, that is so crazy how one guy, like, he can just outlandishly be like, oh yeah, that guy Schultz? Yeah, he's gone. He's not coming back.
Which I do agree with.
I'm working on a deal right now, but he's not coming back.
And Murray too. Murray's out the door.
I even heard Chris Letang's on the waiver, on the trade wire. Yeah, trade bait. So I don't know what this guy's thinking. He's going all out here.
They're going to be drastically different. Pittsburgh and maybe Toronto as well.
But I agree. To invest all that stock in Kapanen, a guy we know because we've been living in this fan base for the past several years, I just don't see it. And I don't know if even Crosby, for the leader he is, I don't think he'll have the energy to convert this kid. If he doesn't want to buy in from day one, I don't think Crosby's going to hold his hand and walk him through this. He's going to go, you know what, kid, you're on your own if you want to,
I really don't see him fitting in.
Lifestyle. I don't either.
There's no fit there.
He's gonna be like a Carl Hagelin when he was on Pittsburgh, like penalty kill, second power play, and you try to make him a top 6, and he ends up just on the third line.
I really believe Jim Rutherford is so damn disconnected from what's going on in the room and just everywhere.
As a Pittsburgh fan, you got to be concerned.
Oh,
about this manager.
Honestly,
you need Mcguire in there.
Honestly, you know what? Call it the storyline of the decade.
Mcguire wouldn't have made that trade.
No, God, no. Call that the storyline of the decade if he went to Pittsburgh as a GM.
It'd be awesome.
After winning the cup.
Swan song, that'd be great. That'd be great.
That'd be amazing.
Who knows?
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm upset by it. I'm upset, but I'm happy for Toronto. And Pittsburgh they are what they are. Technically, maybe they're better on paper. Yeah, I guess so. I guess they are. They're still a great team despite this, but the future is so damn bleak. Like, I don't know. But good for Toronto.
All right. We move on to the main event of the show. The continuing COVID Cup has now entered the conference final. We are watching currently live Tampa Bay Islanders Game 2. They're in the third period, tied 1-1 with 13 minutes left. So, hey, again, we tried to get the show out as early as possible. We had some commitments over the weekend.
Nick was golfing.
The NHL, they do not give us any pauses anymore. They want to get these games in. And they go too quick for us. So, a couple games have transpired in the West Series. That one's 1-1 right now. So at least our prediction there'll be no conflict of interest there. Like we already know, like it's a best of 5 now, right? It's not like one of us is deciding either way.
Sure.
And then this game, we should find out shortly if this is going to be 1-1 or if Tampa's going to take a commanding 2-0 lead.
They will not.
I sure hope not. So yeah, forgive us if we feel disconnected a little. We're watching it right now. It can be tough to multitask. So yeah, but I'll start with tradition, and as tradition goes, we pull up the Schlub Squad bracketology, where Kyle, as much as he does not believe me, is first in the bracket challenge.
No,
You are first.
What are you talking about? No way.
Yeah, you're first. You have 120 points.
Holy shit! I thought I was last.
You're up by Richard with 1 point.
Holy shit!
Now the thing is, your total possible points has shrunk to 120.
But that's way better than these fuckers down here.
Oh, for sure. We don't want to say any names.
No.
But the point is, Kyle's in first. My theory is you're in first because you're the only one who had the Islanders going to the conference final. So kudos to you.
Thanks.
And that's why you're getting all those brownie points now. But the rest of your bracket's mucked. You got Montreal and Colorado in the final, and we all know.
So I can't get any more points.
That's the problem. You can sit in your high chair right now, but you're wasted. Whereas if you go to my bracket,
my worst is right here.
Yeah.
I can't be worse than 4th.
But look, I can get 3 times as many points as you.
Sure.
And my Stanley Cup final is very much still intact.
Okay, you're full of shit.
I still have the battle of the lawyers.
But you don't want this.
That'd be a great final.
You don't want Tampa.
I don't want them. But
money talks.
But it would be a great final.
Yeah, it would be a fucking shit final. Mm-hmm. Dallas and New York. And that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But
I guarantee it.
The point is,
that's how life goes, man.
The point is, Della's still in a good spot. She's got 262 points left. But again, her people are out. I think I'm going to win this thing. I think I'm going to win my first bracket challenge.
Wow. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
I've got 3 under my belt so far.
Okay.
No, two.
Well, yeah. So that's the bracket challenge. I mean, who else is up? Yeah, so Rick's up there.
I don't know. You could win. You could not move.
Joe's up there. Yeah, I could just not move, but we'll see.
I actually can't believe I'm fucking first.
Yeah. Crazy. It's basically a fight between me, Del, Rick, Joe. That's about it. And Andrew picked the Lightning. So the only people who actually have people they pick to win left are me and Andrew. I have Vegas. He has Lightning. So we'll see how that plans out.
He has Tampa winning the cup?
He has Tampa winning the cup.
Wow, we got to get that guy on the show.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, so that's where we're at, and I guess we'll start, as usual, with our recaps. Where would you like to start? You want to have the post-mortem right away, or do you want to save that for last?
Philly, New York.
Okay, so we'll work our way to the post-mortem. He needs to gather his emotions.
I'm saving that for the end.
Yeah. All right,
when I've had more drinks.
Yeah. Philly, New York, a 7-game series, went the distance. Pretty all-around, back and forth series. I predicted that. My prediction was Islanders in 7. I was right. Just got to point that out. And I called it a chess match. I thought the coaches would go back and forth. That's what we had. The Islanders won Game 5. Philly won Game 6. They go to a Game 7. Islanders squeak out. It was a commanding win in Game 7. It was like a 4-0 decisive win. But hey, the least interesting of all of them, I'd say. This was definitely the one I paid the least attention to.
Yeah.
That's where I stand.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
It had the lead. I don't know. It just didn't have it for me. But Islanders still got the job done. I'm still heavily invested in them in my $1,000 bet. And
it's a good bet.
It's a great bet. I gotta pat myself on the shoulder for that. That's what I did. I threw a bunch of darts at the dartboard. In August 1st.
Yeah.
And one of them landed so far.
Yeah.
So I know I'm feeling pretty good, and I thought they played really well. I thought Barzal had his coming out party. If he didn't have his coming out party yet, yeah. Lights out. That line of Bailey, Beauvillier, and Lee. Is that the line?
Is it
Nelson? You're right. Yeah, Nelson's been unreal. Man, he's shown me something.
Wow.
So yeah, Bailey's evolved and shown me another level. Nelson's evolved, shown me another level. Beauvillier just kept up what he showed me earlier in the series, and then you got the Barzal and Lee line. As I watch Barzal yet again just dangle his way through the Tampa zone.
Sexy, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's in beast mode. He almost scored there on Vasilevsky. Him and Lee still have great chemistry. I mean, they've been great. And then that third line still, I just commend a team that can roll 4 lines. And this team just did it to a T. Like Matt Martin was even pitching in on the third line.
Yes.
Like everyone's doing something. The defensemen, like guys like Andy Green are like scoring. This guy called Scott Mayfield is scoring. Okay, 5-on-3 advantage. Let's see what happens.
Cooper's shaking in his boots.
Timeout Islanders. Like just these unheralded guys on D are showing me something too. Like the Mayfields and the Greens. So like the goalies, they went back and forth. Grice pitched a shutout in Game 7. He had another big game earlier in the series. Like, the fact they could go to 2 goalies was a great sign, which Philly couldn't really do. When they went to Elliott in that one game, he kind of stumbled. So I just think, like New York was just the more well-balanced. You like that, eh? Cooper's just muttering to himself right now. Don't see enough of that. Under his breath, he was just dropping F-bombs. The goalies were more consistent. The forwards were more consistent. Couturier, he was injured for Philly. He kind of had to take the games off. He was missed. Guys like Konechny still weren't really doing anything. So
No.
I just think Islanders gave more. They had more life. They did more, and I think the deserving team moved on.
Yeah, for Philly, in the beginning, I saw a continuation of a troublingly anemic postseason. Like, just a very flaccid offense and just not really inspirational hockey to me. Kevin Hayes, however, really stepped up in this round. He was fantastic. The other big names, as you mentioned, were a little bit missing in action. Giroux specifically. What the fuck's going on with this guy? He got his first goal, which is a kind of a shit tip-in, like in Game 6 or something. So that's so disappointing to me. Couturier, obviously, he had the injuries, and he was and he was all right where he needed to be. Konechny was a no-show in my mind for what we expected of him. But you know what? You got to give it to Philly. Like, all this shit I talk about them, they fought through not 1 but 2 overtimes to force Game 7, and 1 was a double. So I got to give them a pat on the back for that. They showed some real clutch play to get back in there. But at the end of the day, I never really had any doubt in New York.
And you hated Philly.
I hated them. Yeah. I hated them.
You got your wish.
Yeah, exactly. So and New York just had the mojo going. In terms of how they're built, I don't know if there's I don't know if there's any team that has more of a balanced approach to offense that we've seen in a long time. Like, whether it's the Barzal line, the Nelson line. You mentioned Matt Martin. He's already on the scoreboard tonight. Like, they've just got, and Pajot, man. Pajot's been great. They've got every line. He was
like dropping the gloves. He was fighting in that Game 7.
He's inspired, man.
Yeah.
Like, every single line is doing something. And then I got to mention Eberle, because this is a long-time favorite of this show. He holds a special place in our heart. And if I'm latching on to one storyline for the rest of this playoffs, because I don't have my team anymore, it's I want to get Eberle a cup. This guy means a lot to me. He was a big part of my childhood, the big part of why I love hockey as much as I do. So that's my guy for the rest of this playoffs. And I think you're going to see Barzal come out as, if he hasn't already, like you mentioned, more recognition. Like, this guy needs more recognition. He might not put up the numbers, but the skill level is undeniable. So it's really cool what New York's doing. The goalies have shown a glimmer of weakness, but I have a lot of confidence.
But it's nice having the 2 there, right? Because when Varlamov wasn't looking good, you got Grice, and then he just picks him up, right?
Yes.
And then we saw in Game 1 here, Grice got lit early on, and they went back to Varley. And I believe Varley's playing this game right now. So, like, the fact they can just have that dynamic is just really nice, whereas I don't think Tampa has that. So, if Vasilevsky gets lit, I don't really know who they go to. I guess McElhinney, but, I mean, he hasn't seen game action all playoffs, so who knows what he's going to give you. So, yeah, it's a welcome sign, and, just very happy with them. I thought Trotz coached the shit out of Vigneault. Vigneault was, like, making coaches' challenges. He was losing them.
He's a dumbass.
He was just,
he's a goof.
He showed his goofiness. It showed, and I think the right team moves on, so... Fuck. I thought that was it, man.
God damn. Is this Varley?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that does it for the Islanders. We'll get into them more as we get into our prediction segment, but
Yeah.
that's at least all I want to talk about that series. The other one that I would call the most disappointing series, in that I was expecting way more than I got.
Yes.
Like it was like I go to like a nice restaurant and I want like my ribeye steak, like really like a nice ribeye steak, you know,
Yeah.
and I order asparagus and these nice double baked potatoes on the side, and I think it's going to be great, and then they give me my steak and it's all rare and the potatoes are burnt and the asparagus is not juicy at all.
Yeah.
That's what this series was to me, and I just can't believe Boston went out with such a whimper. I mean, it was a 5-game series, so average Joe Schmo will just go, 5-game series, what a joke. There were some tightly contested games. You know, the final game that went into overtime was tight. There was another game earlier that was tight. But in 2 of these games, Tampa really took a beating to Boston. Like, they weren't even close.
One was like 7-0,
that
right?
game where they had to go to the Vladar guy in net, the guy in for Rask.
Oh, God.
He was kind of a joke.
He was the janitor that day.
Man, it just showed you can't just have one goalie in these playoffs, especially when the schedule's so like we got back-to-backs and stuff. It doesn't work.
No.
And you got to have faith in a second guy. You need a guy pushing another guy to keep playing well.
Yes.
It just felt like they were throwing Halak in there regardless how he'd play, because he's the only guy with experience, and they ate shit for it.
This playoffs, more than any other that I've ever been a part of, has played both their starter and their backup more than ever. It's crazy to me. Like Vegas, look at them. Leonard will have a shutout, and the next game Fleury's in the net, and it just blows my mind.
Right.
So it's a new philosophy. It's a very new school kind of thinking, and maybe it's a COVID thing. I don't think so. I think maybe this is ushering a new philosophy altogether. But listen, Boston missed Rask. Let's not sugarcoat this. Halak was okay, not great. Marchand had some rust. He mentioned it himself. The hands weren't there, and Pasternak was out of shape. He said, the coach said that himself. Pasternak did not come in shape. Neither did Kasha, and that's eventually what their downfall was. And then they just kind of, they didn't show the same fight that I thought they would. Char's future is now way up in the air. It's tossed up in the air like a jump ball. Could go either way. I'm not sure if he's going to come back, which is sad. It's sad to me, but Tampa's hungry, man. They have something to prove after they got stomped last year. They got the talent to do it. Stamkos be damned. We haven't even talked about how he's not even in this damn thing yet. I don't think they fucking need the guy. I think he was partying all COVID, and he had some sort of injury problem. But what I want to bring up is this Braden Point guy is really turning into one of the legends of the NHL. Like right now, if I'm putting a Conn Smythe on some guy's jersey right now, it's Braden Point. Like he's the front runner to me so far in this playoffs. Like the way this guy can think the game and be as small as he is and still drive nets, get into the dirty areas, like he just does it all. And you know what?
Third round pick.
He makes me wish that Mitch Marner played this way. Like, why can't Marner be this guy? It upsets me, but I mean, I respect the guy a ton. I hate Tampa. Let's not get this twisted, but I look at Point and even Kucherov and what he's doing, and they're killing it. They're killing it.
So do you buy into what I was saying? How like the team looks different? They look like a team that isn't trying to score more than the other team. They're trying to limit less goals than the other team. They're more physical. They're more grindy. Get that sense
from Tampa?
Yeah. I do, because like you see like the Colemans and the Gord and the Bogosians on the back end, like they fit that mold.
They're more
Sarnik,
balanced now. Yeah.
They got more size. Maroon.
Yes.
They got size. They're not just a bunch of little speedy guys.
Yeah.
You know, like they were last year when they got knocked.
Exactly, yeah.
Like they have size, they have grit, they have a defensive physicality, you know?
Yes.
Something the Leafs were lacking that we want to see from them. So they look more complete. And whatever like work that Julien Brisebois did, it's paid off, and I think you're seeing it. So, like, yeah, I picked Boston to win. I'm ashamed that they lost.
Yeah.
But I'm not too surprised by the outcome. When I see the whole series and I see how well Tampa played, I'm like, hey, they're the deserving team. You know?
What scares me is that we've talked about how every team left in the playoffs is a very complete, very little weakness team. Mm-hmm. I think Tampa is that, but they have star power, which scares me. Big time.
Like fuck, like Andre Palat, where did he come from?
Yeah.
He was a stud in that series.
Yeah.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
He was just some generic top 6 guy who every year would just score like 50 points, you know?
Right.
And now he's like, stud.
Yeah, these guys they wait in the wings and fucking they hide away on the second line and let the big guys do their work, and then, you know, they're serviceable. Yeah. They're serviceable at this time of year. So yeah, I'm worried, man. Like if I were to predict a winner right now, I don't know, man. Like my heart says the Islanders, but my brain says Tampa. Yeah. Which,
it just looks like maybe their year, but we'll get into that.
No, it's not their year. It's never going to be their year.
We'll see. Can we move on to the West?
Vegas.
Okay, Vegas.
Canucks.
All I'm going to go into is the night I was here watching the game with Kyle. We were watching the Colorado game. We'll get into that shortly. But all game, Kyle was going on about how Vegas is screwed. Hockey gods against Vegas. This is terrible. How could they be starting Leonard again? Like, you were furious going into that Game 7.
I don't know if that's the word.
And just to tee up what was going on, basically Vegas commanded the series. They were up 3-1. And then out of nowhere, Markstrom sustains an injury. A little kid called Thatcher Demko comes into the net and goes on to stop like the next 138 shots he faces, and all of a sudden pulls a rabbit out of his hat and steals 2 games for Vancouver. Series tied 3-3. So for Vancouver, it's easy. You go with Demko, Game 7, and you hope for the best. Hope he keeps keeping on, right? For Vegas, do you go to your big game, Mr. Franchise, Mr. Face of the Franchise, Marc-Andre Fleury, right?
Yeah.
Or do you go to guy who's carried you this whole playoffs, Pete DeBoer's boy, Robin Leonard. And Kyle and I had the debate. I told him I think it's going to be Leonard, just because of the way DeBoer has no allegiances. He likes to stick with his guns. But I even said I'd go Fleury. You said you'd go Fleury. And yet the lawyer surprised us by going with the Leonard. So yeah, all I'll say is I read an Athletic article the following day after their winning Game 7, and it was titled, Pete DeBoer presses all the right buttons in Game 7 win. And let me elaborate on that. Not only does he pick the goalie that goes on to have a shutout in that game and have arguably the save of the playoffs, saving a Brock Besser one-timer from Bo Horvat on a 2-on-1 and sprawling side to side. I didn't even think that big guy had that kind of save in him, how he can move like that. But we saw it. That saved the game right there.
He's sluggish.
Not only that, but Pete DeBoer, he realigned his lines. He put the classic Carlson, Marchessault, Riley Smith line together. So he got them back. He put Stone with Pacioretty, and he moved up the centerman on the third line to that line. He bumped Stastny to the third line to play with Puck. So he kind of balanced his lines accordingly, and they showed so much life in that game. I think they were out shooting them like something ridiculous. Like Vancouver only had 14 shots on goal the whole game.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like the whole game they were just stringing along, hoping to win 1-0 Vancouver, and then eventually Vegas gets a power play. 10 minutes left in the game. Pete DeBoer, third thing he does, calls a timeout right before the power play. In this post-game interview, he said, my top line guys were tired going into that power play. They needed a rest. I called the timeout, and they scored a goal. 3 huge things DeBoer did in that game. They all paid off, and Vegas ends up winning the series. So to me, Pete DeBoer won the series for the Vegas Golden Knights. Thoughts?
And is 4-0 in Game 7s.
5-0. He
Really?
was 4-0 going into that. Now he's 5-0.
Okay.
He is 5-0 in Game 7s, and he is now one of only few coaches in history to take 3 different teams to the conference final. I think there's only like 4 coaches in the history of the league who've done it, and he's one of the 4. So he's done that. He's undefeated in Game 7s, and now he's going for a first, which is his first Stanley Cup.
You're such a bitch, man. Why are you so satisfied with this?
Lawyer.
I don't care. No one cares about that.
And you know what he said in the post game after the game? They're like, Pete, what can you tell us about Dallas? What do you got to do about Dallas? And he just looked at the guy in the eyes and said, like, Frankie, like, I love you, buddy, but tonight I'm just getting drunk. And like,
no, he did not.
He said, I'm having a few drinks, and I'll worry about it tomorrow. But for now, I'm just having a few drinks.
Wow.
Loved it.
That's a likable guy.
Canadian boy.
Likable guy.
Canadian boy.
Yeah. Okay, well.
So, what?
Well, here's what I got. Vegas goes up 3-1. And what I said was the early shenanigans, the chirps and the Marcia So shit is like karma that's going to come back to bite them. It almost did. They danced with the devil. They went to Game 7. It never should have gone to Game 7. The hockey gods ignited this guy Thatcher Demko because they fucked up so hard. That's what I'm going to say. Is that because of the karma that I called, Thatcher Demko was almost this close to smiting this better team where they stood. But all was not to be. They put their sins to rest, and they got through it. Vegas has 2 number 1 goalies. That has become a main theme for this team. And you saw Fleury start the first game over in Dallas. He had a great game. They lost the game, mind you, but he had a fantastic game.
Not his fault.
No, and just a quick word on Vancouver before we put them to rest for this season is they'll be back. The play of Hughes, Pettersson, Miller, and Horvat was inspiring to say the least for the fan base. And they've had some great. They're going to have some great runs. Let's be honest. This team is going to be a mainstay in the West. They're in a great spot, but.
Oh my God! Palat just missed, like he was in front of the net just by himself with 19 seconds left.
Oh no! God,
so Tampa.
Damn it! I can't.
Tampa just won the game.
I can't do this anymore, Nick. Honest to God.
Nikita Kucherov, 7 seconds left in the game. 2-1 Tampa. Tampa wins game 2, up 2-0. Seriously,
I actually can't. I can't. I'm not putting any emotion into this anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Like I'm just gonna watch as a casual. Like
and
this is fucking
happens.
Ridiculous, man.
How
does this happen, man? Like
Islanders just looked like they were like carrying the game. They out shooting. They
Look
did
at
have
the shots.
They did have a 5-on-3. They didn't score.
Yeah.
Oh
my
too.
God.
That sucks. You're getting raw. Ooh.
No. God damn it, Nick. Cut the show. This is garbage.
We may have to go to break, folks. This is just too much to handle. John Cooper with the 3-fist pump.
Triple fist. Are you shitting
heck
me?
Flex. Too much from the fake lawyer. And his team is just, they've just,
If I'm Trotz,
I'm
clipping that video. If I'm Trotz, I'm clipping that video and I'm playing it like 5 times before next game. Look at this bitches. Fucking clown. God damn it.
That's a tough way to lose, eh? I think that, yeah. Well, we'll get into this on our preview, but this has got to stay. Yeah. I mean, where were we? I mean, you were just talking about Vegas, how they're a threat, but you 2 goalies. What were you talking about?
2 number 1 goalies. Vancouver is going to be
gods.
here to stay. Hockey gods ignited Demko because I called it. Because of Vegas's like improper sportsmanship. But I just don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what to believe anymore. Like this is just.
I want to touch a little bit on Vancouver.
You may.
They showed me a lot. I'm happy the fans of Canada got to see so much of them because I feel like they're an unheralded Canadian story. They don't get a lot of talk because they're all the way out west. At least out east, people don't watch them enough.
No.
I feel like they got to see a lot of them here. Oh man, I just realized I'm not going to get $1,000. That hurts.
Nick, he's not over yet.
Yeah, that's demoralizing.
God damn.
That's as demoralizing as it gets. But anyways, oh yeah.
God no.
Yeah.
God no.
So anyways, I got a shout out to like guys like Tyler Mott. You know, blocked the most shots in the whole playoffs, like a third line grinder kind of guy. Like I didn't know about this guy before the playoffs started. Now I know about him, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, guys like Chris Tanev on defense, like blocking shots, going all out. He's going to be a pending UFA. Guys like Jake Virtanen stepping up, you know?
Good guy.
Yeah, but Vegas was giving him a hard time. Did you read that article?
No.
He was getting like, they'd like throw a huge hit on him, and like he'd go down, and then all the troops from the bench, he'd be right by the bench, he'd be like, yeah, you deserve it, you fucker. Like they hated him. Or you fat fuck. Like, yeah. They were all over him. Like,
where do you get these articles?
I'll get these quotes for you. Athletic.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it was awesome. This Vegas team, like loudest team in the playoffs, like biggest chirps.
Yeah.
Like love these guys. Anyways, I mean those two guys stuck out to me. Who else? I mean Hughes had a bit more of a subdued round here, but even he, you know, he scored a goal in that game 6. Like that was big. You know, Horvat and Besser picked it up. You know, he was getting criticized. He picked it up. I mean, they showed me a lot, and of course the goaltending. How can you not talk about the goaltending? I just think this off season there's going to be a lot of stories. Like, first off, you got to start with the goalie. Do you go with the big guy who you're going to pay a shit ton of money to keep around and let Demko walk in expansion? You know, because they're taking Demko. There's no one else on that team who they'll take. Or do you go all in on Demko? Try to trade Markstrom, right? I mean, what do you do? So that's a huge one. I just said Tanev. He's a free agent. Do you sign him or not? To me, it seems like they're gonna have to decide between Tyler Toffoli, who's a UFA, and Tanev, who's a UFA. Ooh. Who matters more to you? The top 6 guy who fills out your top 6 admirably, or the top 4 guy who fills out your top 4D admirably?
For them, I'd go top 4D.
Yeah, I would too. But we don't know what his appetite is to stay there. We don't know how much money they have to give, how much he wants. He could probably make a lot of money. Sure. Like the Leafs would pay him a shit ton of money if he went to the Leafs. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting. Yeah. And that's one of those teams we've said enough. Like this off season, it's gonna be just something to keep an eye on, you know.
And I think the way people are swaying is they will keep Demko and the Markstrom era will have ended. In which case, this is one of the hottest goalie markets in recent memory. Like Holtby, Murray, Markstrom. Like there's a ton of good goalies out there that are up for grabs. So if guys are looking to shake up the net position, what an opportunity here.
Here's the Vegas quote. This is a team that when Virtanen was hit in the third period by a Cronwell-style hit thrown by McNabb, the hit, both clean and appropriate, and appeared to be injured, had an unidentified player lean over the bench and yell at the prone Canucks forward as he awaited attention from Vancouver's medical trainers. Quote, "That's what you get," end quote, the player began, heckling an apparently injured opponent. Quote, "Serves you right, you fat fuck." End quote. So there you go. But we don't know who the Vegas player is, of course.
Is he fat?
I don't know. I just think it's
I don't think he's that fat.
Well, he's big, right? Remember we were going over... He's like 220?
But...
6'1", 220?
Let me look this guy up real quick. Like, I don't remember him being that fat. Like,
he was big, though. Like, apparently he weighs more than Ryan Reeves. We were going over that.
Yeah, but... I mean, if you look at his face, it doesn't seem like a fat face, you know?
Yeah, maybe
seems like a slim...
Maybe he just packs a big beer belly.
Oh, boy. Okay. No.
No?
No.
Well,
come on.
At the end of the day, it's just a generic chirp, right?
I know, but this, like, when you call someone fat, like, you know it. You have to mean it, you know?
Fair enough.
I don't know. Okay, I like that one. I will use that on 3-on-3.
Nice. Circulation. Yeah, that's harsh.
And I'll chalk that one down. I'm not gonna put that in the bad karma books. I'll keep that to a good chirp.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, that's all I gotta say on Van. I'm just glad it was their kind of coming out party. There's been talk they're kind of Canada's team now. If there's a team to have the greatest odds of winning the cup, it might be Van. You may disagree.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel like it's a tough debate. Like, each team's like one move away from being that team, you know?
It's going to be Ottawa.
Edmonton's a defenseman away from being that team. Toronto's a defenseman away from being that team, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot. It's a tough debate, but the point is, glad they got their spot in the limelight, and I guess I'll get into Vegas more when we talk about the next round here. So, are you ready for the post-mortem of the Colorado Avalanche?
Can we just get this over with? Skip the theatrics. I'm done with this. I don't want to talk about it. I almost quit watching hockey, you know that? I almost quit watching these playoffs. In fact, I said those words. Get that shit out of my face. You
know what that's called?
No.
The 1,000-yard stare.
What's that mean?
So whenever you see like a team eliminated or something, and like a player's just in disbelief, you'll often like just see the guy's face like staring at nothing for like 4 seconds. That's called the 1,000-yard stare, because in their mind, they're starting to just comprehend quickly everything that's just happened.
Yeah,
and they just look dumbfounded when you look at them outwardly, you know.
Yes.
And so, anyways, when the game ended, it showed great. It was the shot of the playoffs. It was Dallas's front office guys in the masks selling in their office. Oh my
god, I'm gonna be sick.
Pierre going, relief for Jim Nill and the Dallas staff.
I am gonna be sick to my stomach.
And then it cuts to Nathan McKinnon doing the 1,000-yard stare, and Pierre Mcguire goes, and sudden death for Nathan McKinnon. It was like the perfect line and the perfect, yeah.
This guy's a joke, man.
It was hard to watch, but I mean, you never really literally like you never hear sudden death and think of it literally. Like, whenever I hear sudden death overtime, I always just go, oh, it's just sudden death overtime. It's sudden death. But when you think about what is literally implied by that, it literally means your season comes to a crushing halt. Like, once that puck crosses the line, you know? Like, it's over.
Yeah.
Everything all the prep, all the training, all that is over the second that Kvitara guy on Dallas scores that goal.
Kiviranta. Who's a nobody, by the way. Mm-hmm. Here's what I learned from this series. If you are a guy who has not much money in your pocket, and you go off and you walk over to the sick kids building downtown, you don't even take your train. You want to save your money. You don't even take the TTC at all. No public transit. You walk from Markham, like Demos, all the way to the sick kids hospital with all the money you have in your wallet. And you slap your fucking cash on the table. Boom. Take it all. You need it more than I do. I've got all I need at home. I'm stocked up for the month. Don't worry about me. And then you walk home. You've done all you can. The sun is shining. Not a cloud in the damn sky. The roads are busy. You get hit by a bus. And then you get struck by lightning. That's just life. You will do all that you can to be the best person you can be. You'll cover all your bases. You'll do all you can. You've lived the right way. But you can get hit by a bus. That's how I felt that day, Nick. That's how I felt that day. I felt like this team... I hate to make it personal, but I was feeling so good about them winning. I was like, man, I've lived this week super clean. I've worked hard. I deserve a win today. I deserve to, like, and it's stupid, right? To think of it like that, but I felt like I got hit by a bus that day. And you look at McKinnon and the 1,000-yard stare. This guy doesn't deserve it. This guy, you don't even know what went on behind closed doors. He was the most dedicated. Nobody wanted to win more than he did. Yeah. Not a single person in this NHL. and he gets hit with injuries upon injuries, and he puts up a Gretzky-type run in the playoffs that no one has ever seen since 20 to 30 years, and he gets slapped with this crap, this Dallas Stars can't score a clean goal, so we'll get all this grubby shit, all this garbage around the net, all these tips. Like, it's just so fucking demoralizing how you can be twice the skill level, even with the injuries, and you get fucked up by Pavelski-type shit. Garbage. I'm going to fly by the net and get hit on the ass, and it's going to go in. And then you get Michael Hutchinson, who I, for my money, will say is the worst goalie in the NHL.
Whoa!
Of this year. He's
Even on that Pavelski save in Game 7?
He is the worst goalie to start a game in the 2019-2020 season, including David Ayres. I would rather have the fucking Zamboni driver in the fucking net. This guy was garbage every save he made. Even that fucking Pavelski one, they wouldn't be in this situation.
Right.
This guy, they shoot it, and he's so clumsy, he couldn't even teach a fucking 9-year-old how to play goalie. This guy is crap. So they lose their number 1, their number 2 goalie, they lose their captain, they lose their rock on defense, Eric Johnson, they lose Matt Calvert, who, do not get me wrong, this guy is their heart and soul. This guy makes their fourth line tick. He's the Swiss watch of the fourth line. Like, he will do anything to win. They needed that guy, especially early on in the series when Dallas was playing playoff hockey and Colorado was stuck in regular season mode. That's why they went down. They finally figured it out. They were the much better team from Game 5 and onwards. And then they get hit with this crap. Even Connor Timmins going down. You don't want Kevin Connaughton in there. What's he going to do for you? Fuck. Like, it wasn't their time. Dallas is a finished product. They'll never be better with their current system than they are now. Colorado's guys, Colorado's system, everything is trending up, and it still is. This is so not the team that you're going to see next year. Not so much roster-wise, but everyone will grow. Everyone will take a step. Makar had a few fumbles, but oftentimes he was the best player on the ice. Nathan McKinnon included. Like, it's so damn sad that we can't see more of this exciting, electrifying team. But with the injuries that went down, it's not the year.
So it was Johnson, Donskoy, Grubauer, Frances,
and Calvert and Landeskog.
Oh yeah, and
yeah. What are you gonna like?
Too much.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much, and
it's
I don't
too
know.
much.
I knew we were gonna have this discussion at some point this playoff run. I did not see them winning the cup. But I thought like they were going to lose at some point, and then we'd have this conversation. This was inevitable. It's just sad the way they went down. I would have liked to see them go down naturally as opposed to running out of bodies. You know,
it's cheap.
That's not good.
Cheap.
With that said, like you can't just say like Dallas is like this fluky baloney team because like
that's how I see them.
They were like all season long they were like 30th in goals scored and like second in defense. Like, they were a Nick team by all the metrics. Yeah. But in this playoffs, they've kind of been more of an offensive team. They've kind of turned the tables, and they've shown a little more spark. And they've done something interesting. Like, when you look at their lines, like, it's kind of all over the place. Like, what they do is instead of loading up a top line like Colorado does, they spread out the wealth. So they'll have one line, which is, like, Ben and, like, Corey Perry. And they'll have another line which is like Sagan doing his own thing, with like Radulov, and then another line's Pavelski. Like they spread out the offense. They get a lot from their D, the Klingberg and the Heiskanens. There's these underrated stoppers like Lindell and Alexiak. Khudobin is a elite goaltender in this league.
He's a good goalie, not elite. Good.
So I think they're an unheralded story. Good for the coach, that longtime goofy guy who finally moves on to the conference final. You got to give, as much as you want to say, you know, Colorado were unlucky. you got to tip your cap to the Dallas Stars at the very least, and it's part of the reason I put money on them.
I can't. I will not give them any credit.
Because you're a fan who's sour.
I think the games Colorado lost.
You can't look at this objectively, impartially.
All those early games, they beat themselves.
Colorado?
Yes. I really believe that.
The goalie's huge. You need a goalie to win in the playoffs, and those goals Hutchison was letting in, they got no business going in.
Look at what happened when Dallas played their backup. He got fucking torched in minutes.
So are they in on the UFA goalie market? Like, should they be going after Markstrom and Leaner, or should they just be sticking and hoping Grubauer can hoist a cup and stay healthy? Because man, I don't know.
I want them to get a. I'd love for them to get a Holtby.
No.
A Holtby type, yes.
Okay, I don't like Holtby. I think he's.
I don't like Holtby much
he's like
either.
Mid tier among the pending like UFA goalies.
But he's the most stable ground that you can get. He's not a great goalie, but he's a very good goalie.
I'd get like Freddie Anderson.
If he's available, it's going to cost.
He is available.
Well, thing is, I don't want to pay. Like, I don't want to trade for
Assets.
the goalie. Yeah.
Well, Toronto might only want like cap space or something, you know?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean,
and Colorado's got a shit ton of cap space. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, what has Freddie Anderson won? Nothing.
He hasn't won anything.
He's shit in Game 7.
He has enough pedigree. He has like pedigree.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just see Holtby as a very stable, very reliable. You know exactly what you're going to get.
Would be great there, but okay.
Well,
hey, we'll see.
I don't trust Freddie. We'll
see. Okay, fair enough. But I just. Yeah, it's a shame when the goalie's not producing. You can almost see it in McKinnon's face. Like, when Hutchison let that goal in, he was, like, dropping F-bombs. Like, he knew, like, man, like, this is pathetic. This guy should be an AHL goalie, and he's goaltending us here. If that. And he's goaltending us here in this Game 7. So, I mean, yeah, it was sad. And it's just a sad way to go down. But sometimes that's just the way the wind blows. Like you said, it's not their time. Dallas is more of a proven commodity right now. They're more of a built team right now. So let them move on and go for their cup run. Colorado will have their things. The one interesting thing I saw is that like last year when they lost to San Jose, they kind of knew where they needed to improve. Like they needed depth at certain positions. They upgraded. They addressed it, right?
Yeah.
With this run, it almost feels like it's different. It's like, oh, we lost, but we don't really feel like there's this big hole. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, do they just hope they get healthy and they bring back the boys and go at it again? Do they try to solve it? Is it simply just the goaltending? Like, what do you do if you're Joe Sakic?
To be completely honest, I really think you look at goaltending, address that, and you don't need anything else. I really do believe that. Like, I don't think the offense failed them. I think, I mean, you're only going to get stronger with Bo Byram coming in. Connor Timmins is going to be a mainstay next year. Your defense is done. It's set. Like, you've invested so much. It's going to come to fruition. Solidify the goaltending. I'd love to have Grubauer as either a backup or a 1B. That'd be perfect. And then you're done, man. And then you're done. And you can have Francouz as your 3 in case a shit situation like this comes up. And then I think, like, there's no beating this team. Maybe add a little bit of sprinkled in third, fourth line kind of guys. Jost, I'm not sure he's still a fit here. You know? Like, he's a good kind of energy guy, but I think it's time to move on for someone who's more suited for a third line role. He's kind of a second line guy who can't make it to the second line. You know? So there's little things that need tweaking outside of goalie, but that is the major concern. And I told you that day. I told you that harrowed day. Joe Sakic has done a marvelous job getting this roster set, but you've got Byram, you've got Newhook waiting in the wings. If they're going to do this, those guys, one of them or both of them will be part of this. And they weren't this year, so it's not time. They're not ready yet, and next year, watch out. That's all I got to say.
Last point, this Kivi Ranta character. 1 point in 13 games over the regular season. And in his AHL career with the Texas Stars, he was under .50 points per game in his tenure with the AHL.
That hurts.
He scores a hat trick and leads his team to the conference final.
That hurts.
Very neat. I like those unheralded starts in the playoff kind of stories.
Yeah.
Of course, hurts when it goes against you, not the team you're rooting for, but still a fun little story. All right.
Quick predictions?
Yeah, quick predictions. I'm just going to run up and get a beer. And
I will do one as well.
Why don't you introduce what the matchups here and what's going on, just to catch up the fans. Like, they need to know what we've seen going into these predictions, so they're raw, right?
Yeah, might as well start with the East with the New York Islanders and Tampa Bay Lightning. As of today, September 9th, 2020, we've just witnessed Tampa Bay score with like 7 seconds left, go up 2-0 on the New York Islanders. That's where that series is at. It's heartbreaking. Me and Nick are both the same kind of page on this one. It sucks, but it is what it is. Over in the West, we've got Dallas and Vegas, two very complete teams going at it. Dallas perhaps the more defensively minded, and that series is 1-1. Dallas had a surprising, to me at least, surprising win in the first game, and then Vegas really flexed on their muscles. I think a 3-0 win for game 2. So that's 1-1. And the other series is 2-0. And we'll do a little prediction time, Nick. And the big question is, do we follow the heart or do we follow the head? It's the age-old question. You've cried on the show because you didn't follow your heart. Yeah. And I've cried almost because I followed my heart instead of my head. So what do we do? What do we do? And are you considering what you've seen already? 2-0 and 1-1 in the series. Well, you have to. You have to consider it. This is where we are.
So two things stand out for me in this Tampa Islander. My heart says Islander because I did put money on them, and I have $1,000 riding on them if I win. And
money is passion.
That'll like if I've said it, like if I win that, I'm spending that money right away. Like that's not even disposal. That's not even saving. That's money I should not have, and I'm blowing that right away.
What are you buying?
I don't know, but I'll be very smart about how I spend that money, but it's going quick.
Symbolic though.
I don't want to talk about what I'm getting until I have the money. You know?
Of course.
I don't want to get ahead of myself here.
Yes.
My mind says Tampa because I chose them in my bracket. I gotta stick with my gut. I gotta stick with right. I've said that in the past. Stick with your gut in these predictions. Don't waver. And my bracket has Tampa in the final, and my mind says to stick with it. Now, two things watching the series that I've been privy to that stand out to me. I don't like these condensed highlights the NHL does. They only give you the goals, some certain plays, but they don't give you the drama, the shots that really stick with you, the facial reactions. There was a shot. We were eating all-you-can-eat wings at Hooters on Monday night, and we were watching the game, and Islanders got blown out of the water. I think it was 5-1.
Yeah.
And there was a shot of Matt Barzal getting the puck stripped from him in the offensive zone. Tampa just stripped him of the puck. And as he was going to the bench for a line change, he took his stick. This is live play going on. He should either be back-checking or going for a change. He's slamming his stick on the glass next to his bench 5 times.
Wow.
And then going for a line change. So puck stripped, bang, 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 off the ice. And that said volumes to me, because this looks like a stud who we've been talking about the show. I love the guy, top 5 offensive player in my mind in the league. But seeing things like that show me this Tampa team has a stinginess to them where they can get into the heads of even the most talented offensive playmakers in this league. And I saw that. I'm like, fuck, it's game 1, man. What are you letting your emotions getting the best of you right now? But watching that showed me a team that showed me this Tampa team can really, they have this defensive mindset that was missing in the past. They seem to have honed in on it now. I've been saying it since that Columbus series. They just look different. And that stuck out to me. And then, of course, this was a huge game. If they had just won this, then you got some momentum. You got some belief. You can beat this giant Tampa. But fuck, losing a game with 7 seconds left in regulation. I'm not even sure Barry Trotz, the great coach, Ukrainian coach, can motivate his team out of this, you know? Like, it's one thing to get, like, blown out in a game, too. It's another thing to lose with 7 seconds left on kind of like a breakdown coverage. Open Kucherov slides it under Varlamov's armpit. Like, that was not good to watch. The team looked demoralized. We saw Eberle there on that final shot. I think those, like, there's a vibe I'm getting, just those two things I described. The morale of the team as it sits right now after that loss, and the Barzal stuff I was seeing in game 1. That's enough for me to say I'm sticking with my mind. I got Tampa winning this in 4 games.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? $1,000?
Yeah, I'm not getting that $1,000.
4 games?
You understand these bets? These bets.
I know.
I didn't think it was happening. I just threw darts at a dartboard.
Come on, man.
I'm pissed. I should be more visibly pissed, but I'm on the air right now. I'm not going to make a tantrum like I did last year. I'm not crying on the microphone right now. The point is, like, those 2 points really resonate with me. I just stated, and I'd love to have $1,000, but sometimes you just got to tip your cap. Like, the Islanders are the last team sitting in this tournament where it's like it's a quote unquote COVID team, you know? Like, if you were of the belief it's the COVID Cup and an upset team was going to win, the Islanders are the only representation of that left.
I'd put Dallas.
I don't put Dallas in that category.
I
don't put them in that category. I don't.
They almost missed the playoffs. They could have missed the playoffs if the regulars. They
Dallas
might have.
is not on that level in my mind. But the point is, sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the better team. And the way this is looking, it looks like, as a lot of pundits were saying, at the end of the day, as much as it's weird and it's the COVID Cup, the best teams will be the best teams. And I think we're seeing that play out right now. Like I said, I think this is going to be like Boston, Carolina last year in that conference final. 4-0 Boston. I'm going 4-0 Tampa. I think this series is done. After that, I think it's done.
I'll tell you why it's not done. I'll tell you why it's not done. I'll say Islanders in 7.
Just so you can hear me cry again.
Heart.
If Islanders win this in 7, I will probably cry again.
Yeah. And you'll have to have to thank me because I'm putting myself on the line for your money, for your wallet. So now I deserve a jersey out of this. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Let me explain myself. As Pierre would be keen to mention, travel is a factor.
Sure.
Tampa Bay had won a week ago, maybe more, against Boston. They've been okay. Do not get me like I got to make this absolutely clear. You have set up a home at this hotel. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay has moved from their home and they've laid roots in this new home for a week. And they're yes,
they were only there one night longer than the Islanders.
How's that possible?
They stayed in Toronto the whole time.
Really?
That whole time off, they were in Toronto.
Bullshit.
They only got into Edmonton a night before the Islanders.
Okay,
Step that back a little bit.
That aside, they have been game planning, scheming, resting, game planning, all this stuff, and the 1 day extra really helps.
Yeah. Sure.
And the Islanders have been in a dogfight that they didn't expect themselves to be into against Philly. Like I'm sure they took a bit of gas off of Philly to maybe think about the next series, and then they got into a Game 7, this and that.
Yeah.
I see Game 1 as a total crapshoot. I see that as a throwaway for the Islanders because Tampa Bay is uber ready. They've been having their sights set on this team. They probably predicted the Islanders would win. They prepare for both regardless. So I threw that away. Doesn't matter. It's a blowout. Islanders don't get blown out. There's got to be a reason for it. And then this game, what happens? It's kind of a stupid play that leads to a goal with seconds left. If this went into overtime, it's a coin toss.
They should have scored on that 5-on-3.
They should have scored on the 5-on-3, sure, but Tampa might have had a 5-on-3 in the first. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We just watched the third, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this as a 1-0 series for Tampa Bay, even though they're up 2-0. I think I've seen enough from the Islanders to know they have some fight left. They'll turn this into a series, and then it's just heart.
and coaching.
I know Tampa Bay is the better team. I know they're the better team, and I just have to continue to stick to the guts.
Vegas lacks heart, or sorry, Tampa lacks heart.
I don't even know if I can say that confidently,
Okay.
but I'm just going with what I feel.
Yeah.
You know, like I love the balanced depth of the Islanders, and I don't love the system, but I do love the coach and how he's able to influence the game.
Squeeze all the life out of his team. Squeeze all the juice out of the lemon.
Yeah, and I just it's more personal, but I don't like what Cooper did to Drouin. So I'm hoping that karma swings
those
by.
reactions are so childish.
And they're childish. That has got to be something.
Game 2 of a series, and he's like...
There's got to be something to that. Like, I'm telling you, if I'm Trotz, I'm replaying this fucking clown of a coach, farthest thing from professional. This guy's giving a triple fister. It's just so... It's childish. It's unprofessional. You're not... Like, my old mentor, my old coach, Jimmy T, he always used to say... even keel, quiet success was his motto. You want to have success, and you want to be quiet about it. Look like you've been there.
Yeah.
This guy looks like a fucking clown, a fake lawyer, and I hope he goes down for it.
This guy clearly did not take a legal ethics course.
No, God, no.
No way.
He's a child.
No way he read that textbook I had in the car. No way.
Like, he is just a trashy fuck.
A joke.
And I mean, put him and Trotz in a room, and who's blinking first? Like, this is not even close. Yeah. But the talent, like the star power, is there on Tampa, and they seem to have some good mojo going. But I'm gonna go Islanders. I think they can do it.
All right, quick Vegas and Stars. I think it would have been way more fun if it was Vegas, Colorado. I think that's what we both wanted. My team versus your team.
Yeah.
We didn't get it. We did not get it. But my bet remains $250 on the Dallas Stars. So I got two teams in the running. And yeah, Dallas, they played a quintessential defensive game. 1-0 in the first game.
Shitty game.
Yeah, shitty game. I heard it was the worst game of the whole playoff. I just watched the condensed game for that one. And then the following game, Vegas finally comes out. They have more life. They outscored the Dallas Stars 3-0 in the second period and go on to win the game 3-0. So, hey, another one for me. Heart and mind, gotta go with both. Vegas Golden Knights.
For both,
and hey, to me, it's just the coach. I think the Dallas guy's a kook.
It's not the coach.
The Dallas guy's a kook. Pete DeBoer is going to press the right buttons. Even if they go down, maybe they lose tomorrow. Maybe they're down 2-1. But I think, okay, coaching aside, because I know you scoff at that, I just think I have more faith in the offensive upside of Vegas more. Like, the offensive stars on Vegas, I could see not being in a slump. Whereas I could see Dallas getting into a slump very quickly.
I didn't even notice those fuckers in the Colorado game.
Like, you don't really
Series.
notice.
No.
And for me, the Vegas guys, like, if one line's not going, like if Stone's not going, then maybe Marchie and Carlson and Riley Smith will. Or if that line's not going, well then Stone and Pacioretty will be going.
And
if they shut up, then Tuck will go on the third line, you know? And then hey, if they're not going, then you'll get something out of Shea Theodore on the back end, who I'd say is probably number 2 in that Conn Smythe conversation behind Braden Point.
You think he's ahead of Heiskanen?
Yes, sir.
Good.
He's got, like, Theodore's got, like, 16, 17 points.
Heiskanen's got more.
I don't know.
I know that.
But the point is, I mean, Theodore scored the game winner in that Vancouver game, the power play goal over the shoulder of Demko. He broke Demko's playoff streak. Pull up the playoff performers right now. I'm curious. Theodore's got to be up there.
I mean, like, total points, you mean?
Yeah. Okay. Every guy in the playoffs. McKinnon's first, I think, still, amazingly, but he'll be passed soon, you'd expect.
I want to get it first. Don't go. Don't get it. No! Okay, I got it. I got it.
Wow, 21 points for Heiskanen. That's pretty unbelievable.
That's stupid. That's dumb.
Subtly, quietly, he does that. It's amazing how he does that so quietly.
I know.
But yeah, Theodore's at 17. Still very impressive. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be neat to see what happens there. But I just have too much more faith in those forwards for Vegas. And while I love Khudobin in the Dallas net, it sounds like Ben Bishop's like injured, and they have like this rookie as their backup. So it's kind of like that Halak situation where you don't really know who your guy to go to is in case Khudobin struggles.
Mm-hmm.
At least in Vegas, you got the 1-2 punch, right? If one guy struggles, DeBoer throws him back in. We've already seen him start flurrying game 1, so it could be more of an open concept in this series. So, yeah, all things considered, I think the D is very similar on both ends, but I think forwards and goaltending, 2-1, like just looking at it like numerically, other than like the intangibles, like the coaching I mentioned earlier, every perspective just points towards Vegas for me.
Yeah, I'll make it short. Vegas in 5. No, 6. I'll say Vegas in 6 because, again, like I said, you're going to find the frustrating element of Dallas being able to like disappear for the game and get garbage shit goals. I guarantee you it'll happen. Yeah. You know what? Vegas in 7. Just because this is how this crap is going to go. It's very frustrating, but that being said, Khudobin goes down, you're fucked. Leonard goes down, you're okay. So, interesting storyline there, but I'm not going to read too much into this. I think Vegas has got all signs pointing to them. And Dallas they've got maybe not too much left in the tank, but they've got a lot of veterans and a lot of guys who are looking at, is this my best shot? So that's a huge factor for them. But hey, Mark Stone, he needs a cup, man. He needs a cup.
He needs it. He
deserves
wants
it.
You can tell he wants it. So
big time.
It's gonna, I'll probably go 6. Just because, like, I don't know. I guess you know Dallas a little more, given you just tuned into that full series, and you seem to have faith in these fluky goals more than I do.
Yes, they will get them. I promise you. I promise you.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7, but I'll just go 6. So I'll go Vegas in 6. You'll go Vegas in 7, and then in the East, I guess I got Tampa in 4. You've got Islanders in 7.
Have some faith, man. God.
I don't know.
This is bad.
To me, it reeks of that Boston-Carolina series last year.
You're turning your back.
I never picked the Islanders.
But you like them more.
I was just lucky enough to put money on them.
You like them more.
I like them a lot.
You want them to win.
I want them to win.
So you can't go 4 against them. That's bad form.
I see these shots, the Barzell smacking the wall, and I'm like, I can't.
He smacked the wall in game 1.
Yeah.
And then he had a great game 2. He had a fantastic game. 7 seconds.
That was like a dagger to the heart.
I know, but like it's not affecting his game. Clearly, he looked great.
Like I said, I stand by what I said.
Okay.
I think Tampa wins the next one, and at that point, the series is over. So
it's never over with Trotz.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope you're right. I have all the belief.
One game at a time.
One game at a time. That's got to be what he's telling his team. So, with that said, those are our predictions. I believe last round. I was 2-2. You were 1-3, because you had Colorado winning. You got that wrong. You had Vancouver winning. You got that wrong, and then you had Boston winning, right?
Yes.
So 1-3. I went 2-2. So
yeah.
And then you were 7-1 in the first round. I was 5-3.
Right.
So I've caught up 1 to you. So you're still up on me by 1 prediction.
Okay.
And of course, we're disagreeing on one of these. So
yeah,
if I get both these right, then we'll be tied.
Big
tie. If you get both them right, then you'll be the victor of our little thing here. And then Joe's in his own doing his own thing. So
we don't know Joe.
Yeah, we don't know what Joe's at. But yeah, we'll update you on how the bracket goes. And
now for the big meat of the show.
The big meat. We got 10 minutes left. We put this time aside for the long awaited. I promised you guys a month ago this is happening. He borrowed my PlayStation just to finish this
the whole
game.
System.
The Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast.
Oh! Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers. So
turn off if you have not played the game.
I don't want people on Twitter yelling at Kyle going, I just tuned in to listen to you guys talk hockey and you spoiled The Last of Us for me. I don't want those people doing that.
I cannot imagine.
So Dante Delfico, shut your ears right now. Turn away. Put this away. Throw your phone in the garbage. You are not listening the next 10 minutes. So
The Last of Us Part 2.
The Last of Us Part 2.
Spoiler cast.
I prefaced this game to Kyle when I beat it saying it was my... I called it the best game of the life cycle of the PlayStation 4. I was infatuated by it. I needed time to sleep on it. I had never played a game that was so satisfying from both a story and a gameplay perspective. And it knocked everything. It consistently knocked everything. I told him, hey, games like Metal Gear get the gameplay right. Oh, well, games like Witcher get the story right and the RPG elements. Well, this game does it both. The gameplay, the presentation, the story, it's all perfect. And I called it as close as I could get to a perfect game as possible. So, without further ado, Kyle's thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2.
Well, Nick, I gotta be honest. This game is right up there with one of the most disappointing games I have ever played in my entire life. Especially after you at the tennis court called it what you just did. You said on the story front, it wins 10 out of 10. On the fun factor, it wins. Oh boy, I've got lots of notes here.
Sure.
Lots of notes. And you know what? I'll preface it with this. You said that you want to keep like a little journal to track your thoughts. And,
Yep.
I thought that was a great idea.
Yep.
Because when you came over, we played that first bit. We got through that first bit. And I was like, you know what? As soon as I finish that, I'm going to start doing the journal. Obviously, after I replayed that, I was not super into writing my shit down because we've already seen it. And then I kept playing and I was like, all right, well, yeah, just... And then I realized something. Let me just get into my review. Oh, man, Nick. I'm disappointed, my friend. I'm so upset. I am so upset. So I have a full breakdown, characters, gameplay, and story. What do you want me to start with?
Whatever makes most sense.
Let's start with the gameplay.
Wait. So gameplay, story, and characters?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So for the record, story-wise, I gave it a 7.
Okay.
And fun factor, I gave it a 6.
Oh, so fun's the fourth thing?
No, that was just your because that was your criteria from the beginning.
I don't think I remember using the word fun.
Well, okay,
I just said gameplay and story.
I give gameplay a 6. Okay. So
story a 7, gameplay a 6?
Yes.
Okay.
So right off the bat, it has to be said, this is primarily a shooter/sneaking stealth game. The shooting mechanics are clunky.
It's an adventure game.
No, sure.
It's an adventure game.
Sure.
Uncharted.
The shooting mechanics are fucking clunky. They are clunky at best. To be honest, I think the gameplay is the worst part of the game. After 7 or 8 hours, it got incomprehensibly repetitive.
Okay.
That was the main word I had in my head. Naughty Dog has not grown whatsoever. We've been having this kind of gameplay since Uncharted 1. That's how I see things. Sneaking, maybe not so much the stealth, but I'll be honest, it's much more refined than it was in Last of Us Part 1. But they haven't really kind of pushed things forward in any way. Like, if you liked what you had in Last of Us Part 1, it's pretty much copy-paste with some refinements. Going prone, whatever, little things. Enter a new area. Crouch, sneak, stab guys, choke them out, sneak, shoot, kill some zombies. I'm disappointed specifically with the lack of intriguing puzzles. I thought that's what I loved about Uncharted, because it broke up that monotonous, how can there be so many fucking enemies in this area where I thought we were in a secluded zone? But every so often you'd have this, okay, well, there's this, impassable puzzle you have to find out. You have to riddle out to kind of break up the gameplay.
Yeah.
Even the first game had a bit more of that. This one, literally every new area, I know there's going to be guys. I know there's going to be a clicker here, and then after here, there's going to be some guys to shoot down. It got just shockingly repetitive. The level designs were gorgeous, were just amazingly thought out. They were much larger than the first game. A huge flaw that you kind of saved for me. The contrast mode saved the game for me, because I'm telling you, I don't have the time to look around these larger levels for fucking ammo that you need. If you're not playing on easy mode, you need this fucking supplies. And I'm telling you, you'd have to look in like 8 different buildings in every corner on every fucking shelf. It was absolutely, oh man, I'm not gonna overblow it. It was frustrating. And then, yeah, the other thing I had a problem was gameplay wise was the pacing. Like you mentioned that open world kind of bit, that was great. Give me some room to breathe. Give me some room to explore. Give me some room to have a guitar moment. You know, find that, have a character moment. After that, it was like go, violent, like all this crap, like guys after guys after guys, and it's just no puzzles. There's no, just level after level. They were well designed, but they were just the same shit over and over and over. And again, I mentioned the searching sucks. But I get it. I mean, how else are you going to find your supplies? I get that part, but the contrast mode saved me. I found this game hard to binge. Like, it was emotionally taxing whenever I'd play it for more than 2 hours. So that's gameplay. Let me move into characters. Characters and story are quite interrelated, but if you want to jump in on the gameplay talk at all.
Yeah, so three things.
Yes.
Puzzles. This might just be everyone has their own thing that they like, and I dislike puzzles. I find them too much on my brain. I want to just sit down and play an adventure shooter, and puzzles don't have any business in there. You want to do puzzles? Buy an indie game on the PlayStation Store for $5 and do puzzles all day, every day. Play Tetris, okay?
Yeah.
That's what you do if you want puzzles. I never really was a fan of the puzzles in Uncharted. To me, they were a look up on YouTube, get through it, so you can move on to the fun parts of the game. That's just me. You mentioned how they break up the monotony of the game, right? The puzzles. For me, I found the game did a good job of when you cleared an area, there'd be an area with no enemies with just like some notes scattered around, environmental storytelling. That's what I love about The Last of Us. They don't rely on cutscenes all the time to tell a story. There's these own smaller fragmented stories that take place in each locale. So like in the first game, we had that Ish storyline where Ish had adopted all those kids and he was doing like in Salt Lake City, and he was doing his own like school. And you saw all the kids, and they had like a little like daycare center, and then you slowly start learning. Oh shit! Like things went really mad here and crazy here. Like he tried to make a beginning, and things are really like I like really subdued, creative ways of telling smaller stories in this world, because it is a post-apocalyptic story at the end of the day, and I do like those smaller stories that don't just revolve around Joel and Ellie. And I think there was more of that, not to the extent of like a big Ish thing, which disappointed me, but you still had stories you could read about. You know, you'd get to this like bank area, you'd read notes about a bank heist during the pandemic that went wrong.
That was day one.
And you get to like, oh, this is really cool. That was a cool little snippet I got to read about, and then you see what happened at the bank, and the security guards there dead, and you take a shotgun, like it's cool. So I don't know, that stuff still was in the game, not to the extent it was in one, but just to an extent enough that I thought it broke up the pacing. You mentioned pacing with the narrative. I thought that was kind of the deal with the flashbacks in this game. Lots of flashbacks, right? So when you're doing Ellie's story for like 10 to 15 hours, you get like 3 flashbacks after each day in Seattle. And then when you get into it's been so long. Who's the other Abby's story? You get some flashbacks here, there. You get to see what her dad was like. What kind of sparked her journey. So the flashbacks for me broke up the monotony. Like I just get out of this crazy scene with Ellie, and then oh shit, I get to play a 20 to 30 minute museum sequence with Joel and Ellie. That's awesome, and it's one of those moments with so much heart, and it's just one of those that scene where they're sitting there in that spaceship together. and he gives her the like you don't get that in other games. That is like motion picture quality cutscenes and heart.
It's a high point
that you don't get in other games. Like that is AAA games at its finest. It leaves a tear in your eye. It's beautifully done, beautifully acted. That's just transcending beyond what a movie can do. A movie can only develop character. The best Chris Nolan movie only has 3 hours of runtime. It can only do so much. This game is a 30-hour epic where you have, and that's after the first game, which is another 10 hours. It's 40 hours sticking with these characters, going through their journey, and the emotional highs are so high. And I think the flashbacks for me gave me like the jitters, and even like the Abby stuff, like that, it was helpful because you got to see where her character was coming from. Why is she so pissed? Oh shit, her dad was the only doctor who could formulate the cure. Oh shit, the dad's dead. Like, oh shit, it was Joel. Like it helped, and it helped contextualize everything that was going on around you. So for me, the flashbacks helped to pace things out. It gave me like a action sequence with Ellie in prime time, and then I get to go back in time and do a more subdued like walking experience. And then hard to binge, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think binging games is bad. I look back poorly at games when I was a kid that I just binged. I didn't really like that. And I think a game which is like just, it's not a long game. It's not like an 100-hour thing like the Witcher. It's 25 hours long. And I think it's more meat. It's 25 hours of just meat. And I think that's what speaks to me. Like when you say you couldn't, like it's unbingeable, well that's the point. Like though in that 3-hour like sit down that evening you're playing, you're getting like all meat. It's just a story and gameplay in my mind that's just riveting at every level. And that to me speaks volumes. I don't need to be binging games, you know? So that's all I got for my rebuttals for what you said.
Well, yeah. I'll save it for the story bit, but hold on. Let me just right. So I might as well go into characters now.
Go ahead.
So character 1, Ellie. Here's the thing about the first game. Oh man, this hurts so bad. No, it's not that bad. It's not bad. So Ellie in the first game was the sole flickering light of hope in this black hole of unwavering, sorry. She was flickering light of hope. This like in a dark world, she's this light that exists that is hope, Mm-hmm. In game 2, we have a black hole of unwavering rage that never seems to cease. I think they really fumbled this character hard. What went down with Joel was enough to piss any of us off. And I can understand her motivation in the beginning of the game to find revenge. Yeah, I was on board, man. We were there. We saw it together when that happened. I was like, fuck these guys. I want to nail them. I want to fuck these guys up. But about halfway through the game, or halfway through her journey in Seattle, I started getting this feeling like, man, oh man, I really shouldn't be here anymore. Like, me and my friend, who like I'm supposed to love, who's not a great character, by the way, surface level, like think of the quips between her, like the chemistry between her and this Dina character versus her and Joel. It's not even fucking close. She's willing to commit unbelievable carnage, kill a bunch of people. You've slaughtered most of Abby's friends. And then, like, I have a hard time believing she could do all this and still consider that, I still need to get back at this girl. Like, this isn't enough. I have a pregnant friend here who's my lover, and I'm still not willing to go home. Like, as soon as you knew she was pregnant, you should have been gone. Like, that's my head. Like, there's no way. And for what? For revenge. But you're not getting anything from that. You're risking life and limb. You're not getting anybody back. You're just getting a petty revenge. So killing after killing, hell-bent on revenge. I don't even need to go into this ending. That was crazy. When Tommy shows up and he's waltzing in the door like, I found her. We need to go after her. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, what a ridiculous statement. You've got everything you need. Yeah, you have PTSD, but who doesn't in this world? Everybody does. The fact that she made the decision to leave all that and go was mind-blowing, not only to me, but I had Dell watch every single cutscene from the moment Abby took over the story. I said, Dell, before I play the rest of this game, I want you to experience this with me. We're going to go on YouTube, every single cutscene. And we looked at each other when when Ellie decided to leave, and we were like, I don't know, man. I don't buy this. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. She's killed all her friends. She has her dream. She penciled out the dream. She's got the dream. She decides to leave. That's crazy to me.
She still had those the PTSD. She still had those thoughts that weren't leaving her mind.
I know.
She was unhinged.
But Nick, remember when she was going to kill Abby and then she remembered Joel and she thought forgiveness? Why couldn't she figure it out then? Why did it take her all the way to the end to figure it out? Everyone's got PTSD. You're living in a zombie apocalypse. Like, get over it. Dina's got PTSD probably as well, because she's almost gotten stabbed in the face. Like, I don't believe for a second that not every single character doesn't have those flashbacks. I don't know what was going on there.
To me, she looked like a troubled character.
But
he needed closure.
If this is a year later, you've digested this. Your friends have gone down.
Well, that's an assumption. You don't know if you've digested it. It didn't look like she digested it with all those flashbacks she was having.
My problem is here's the main problem. She did not grow. She did not succeed in what she wanted to achieve, and she got what she deserved.
Sad ending.
Yeah. By literally, Nick,
everyone leaves her.
Not everyone had this response, but by the end of the game, I had zero sympathy for Ellie whatsoever. Like, as soon as she walked out the door and left Dina, I was like, die for all I care. Like, that's hard, man. For the main character, I couldn't care less. Let me switch over to Tommy for a second. Tommy swaps from let's avenge Joel to let's not avenge Joel to let's avenge Joel to a year later. How can you not want to avenge Joel? Like, when Joel first died and Ellie's like, we got to get these guys, right? He's like, you know what? Let's not do it. And then at the end, after all this carnage, he's like, you made a promise to me. What the fuck, man? Tommy coming in is so off character to me.
Yeah, but
it was so weird.
But it was the only thing he had left, right? Because his wife.
Because he left his wife.
Left him.
I guess,
so
but
it's
like
all he's got left. All he's got left is the revenge and the closure of avenging his brother.
But imagine that, walking into Ellie's house in her perfect life, slapping something on the. Well, you need to go do this.
He knows she's the only one who might share that feeling. Who else would?
But Nick,
and he's incapable of doing it.
In the memory of Joel, do you think Joel wants you to walk into his daughter's house and say, you need to go avenge Joel alone?
He's not a perfect man. He's a flawed human being.
Tommy.
But you can't. Maybe he thought about that, but he's flawed.
He was so even keel in the beginning.
I think he was more against her going with her joining him. But I think he was going to do it regardless.
Well, how about before he got shot in the face?
Yeah.
Ellie was like, "Oh, and she gets to live," and he goes, "Yeah." And are you all right with that? And she goes, "I have to be." It seemed like they were cool. So it seemed like Tommy was cool too. I don't get that at all. Now let me switch over to Abby.
By the way, he is the biggest loser of The Last of Us, is he not?
Yes.
As I said.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Loses his eye, wife leaves him, doesn't get his revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a loser of The Last of Us.
He's a dick. Okay. He's a dick. Abby, I loved. I really liked her character. She was a big saving grace for me. I had a big connection with her. I sympathized with her side of the story most of all. Like, by the time her story was halfway through, I'm like, man, I'm so on Team Abby instead of Ellie. Like, Ellie, I left her halfway through her playthrough of Seattle. Yeah. I was like, you shouldn't be here. Your motive was standing on, like, toothpicks, and those are gone by now. Especially when she left that Asian guy to go chase Abby instead of save Tommy. I was like, come on, man. The end scene was super hard to play when I was beating the shit out of this girl.
Well, one thing I'll just mention is I'm just I'm shocked because all the people who dislike this game disliked Abby. Like everybody, like they were like Ellie lovers, and then Abby, like they couldn't. A big criticism of this game was the fact they didn't want to play half the game over again. Like they didn't want to do Seattle day 1 and 2 and 3 again with this character they don't give a fuck about because she smacked Joel's brains out. So the fact you sit on the positive side of that debate and generally dislike this game is you're in a very weird minority.
I know.
When you told me you were all aboard her story, I'm like, oh, Kyle's going to love this game. And
that's the problem. Ellie screwed it for me. Like the way, and I get it, the flashbacks serve as a way to say the connection was strong. Like Joel was this amazing guy, this amazing father figure. And that helped. It helped, but like still, man, her story screwed it for me. But I look at Abby's story and I'm like, every decision you made along the way, I get it. I get it why you and Owen had this great love story blooming, and I was actually really interested in that. And then every single time they'd get close, it's like, but I want to go to training. We have to get Joel, and that ruined her love story, which I thought was like really intriguing. That this hatred that she has ruined like her chance of being happy, and I thought that was a really legitimate kind of story and why she was driven. And not only this is the problem. Abby lost her dad, but she also lost the cure. People lost the cure. So she's pissed because her dad got taken, and it's so selfish of Joel, and she knows, and all of those guys, that whole team knows. Joel not only stole this great guy that they like, but he stole the whole fucking cure. So yeah, I get Abby's side of the story. I'd beat the fucking guy over the head. Sure. I've lost thousands of friends. My team, everybody.
That's why the game's brilliant, because you should buy into one person's intention and the other person's intention. But me,
I don't have both.
Like you didn't buy into
I
Ellie's,
don't have both. Yeah,
which
that's
is
the
shocking
problem.
Because any Last of Us 1 loyalist would be furious when this random girl comes and smashes Joel's brains out because he's such a beloved character.
Yes.
And you were furious. I was here when we saw the scene together.
Yes.
Like, who the fuck is this girl?
Yes.
You were furious.
I was furious.
And then you loved her. That is great storytelling. I think a 7 out of 10 is extremely harsh. The fact Neil Drunken Man was able to get you from hating this character to 20 hours later adoring this character. That is amazingly hard to do.
It is hard to do.
And it's impeccably well told with the flashbacks.
Yeah. Like, again, and her flashbacks served me much better because I got the story of all the friends I've just killed.
Yeah.
Which hurt me so bad.
It's unprecedented. Games have never told a story like this. Such a layered story in this structure.
Yes. But, I mean, I really struggle with Ellie's part. If that was done better, then I think there's, like, there's an overarching problem that I have, too. There's a big overarching thing that some guy on YouTube summed up very well. I'm going to try to read it exactly. Let's see. Yes. So this revenge plot, this kind of back and forth, I get revenge on you because you did this to me and all this stuff. You know how it goes. The guy, what he said was perfect because this exact story, this revenge thing, this back and forth has probably played out 1,000 times in this pandemic world. This is not a unique story. This is, I killed your guy, now you're going to hunt me down and kill my friends and try to kill me. What was different about the first game is that these characters had a massive like influence on the world. Ellie is the cure, she's immune. Joel has this humanitarian decision. Do I let them kill my daughter figure or let the world have this cure? And you yourself, you're torn apart. What do I choose? And do I blame Joel for choosing his decision? This story, this is a cheap revenge story that's happened in Spain, in Portugal, in England. This has happened 1,000 times. This is so inconsequential to the world of The Last of Us. This is Ellie getting petty revenge, not getting anything from it. and they're just two characters.
It's more of a personal tale.
I don't like
with heart as opposed
to I think there's no heart in it.
There's no heart in the moral of the story. The moral of the story being revenge does not necessarily give closure, and you should not just be this ruthless, bloodthirsty individual.
But
you don't buy that?
There's just too much unbridled, unchecked hatred that I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Unchecked, it's like you must have some sort of limiter. Like you've lived a life of trauma. This is a horrible situation that's happened to you, but you must have some common sense left. Like
why she doing all that stuff in the first half?
She ends up slaughtering all this girl's friends.
I would
Abby
do the same.
lets her.
I would do the same.
You would not.
I would. Joel. It's Joel. It's all based on the first game. They had such a relationship. It's her dad, man.
But then, okay, they had such a relationship, yes. But then it got cracked because of what she found out.
Yep.
Sure. So it's not fully perfect, and she did not forgive him yet.
Yeah. She was going to try. She was going to try.
When he died, yeah. But, I mean, you're talking now about you've got a lover involved who has a child, and they didn't do a good enough job developing that If that was a really strong relationship, I buy it. I wouldn't buy it even half as much. Like that. If that was a really strong relationship, then I would say, yeah, you should have gone home even a week before you should have. But I don't know, man. Like it falls flat for me. It really does, because like you have to realize at some point that you have to count your blessings. Abby let you live. You killed all her friends, and then she let you live again, twice now, and you're gonna leave your perfect life to go fuck her up. That's crazy to me. Like
I think that's part of the moral of the story, though. Like that's what he wants you. That's what the director wants you to think. Like the average schmo should be able to cut their losses and go, "Hey, listen, life's not so bad." But you get to see her try to do the bloodthirsty route, and at the end of the day, things don't work out for her. She doesn't get revenge. She kind of gets closure, but her girlfriend and daughter leave her. So
she gets nothing.
It shows that bloody revenge path isn't the best path, which you're telling me right now you don't believe is the best path. She should have cut her losses. She probably regrets not leaving her girlfriend on the farm, and I think that's the moral. That's one of the morals of the story. The fact that endless revenge is just not the way to go, and it's not necessarily going to end well. So I think that's a positive. Like the fact you don't like. She's living out the alternative that you didn't want her to explore, and it backfires, and the director is reinforcing that point that you're reinforcing.
My problem
he agrees
is,
with you.
Yeah, that point is great. Now you could have and you can hammer that point home by Abby kills Joel. Abby gets her entire friends and family wiped out. That point is now nailed home. Now when I'm going back as Ellie and I'm in the boats and I've untangled her from this totem pole and she's getting in her boat to go free, and I'm like, oh, that's growth as a character. You're realizing I came here for revenge, but you know what? Maybe she's suffered enough. Maybe we're not so different. All this stuff. But then when she makes the decision to put the knife to Lev's throat, you're not going anywhere. I'm like, are we still doing this? Like, this is crazy. Like, she didn't grow, man. After all this time, pain, suffering, killing, uncharacteristic slaughtering of that fucking the black woman.
Well, eventually
she doesn't get it, man.
Lets her go.
She gets it at the very last.
So what's the difference between very last second? Like, what is that a game change? Is that a deal breaker for you?
It is.
Had she just had that realization 5 minutes earlier, that's a deal breaker for you?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I was expecting an ending that would end my suffering. Yeah. But if you just keep hammering with negative after negative after negative,
it could have been worse if she killed her.
Yeah.
She did let her live.
She let her live.
So how can you hate on that?
I don't because both are bad. Both are almost equally as bad.
You just said you wanted her to grow. It sounds like at the very last second she did grow.
You know what I would have preferred? She kills Abby and Lev fucking shoots an arrow through her head. That's what I would have preferred. Revenge is bad. Yes, you're going to get an arrow through the head.
Okay.
Instead, I can't play guitar and I'll fucking get back with Dina in a week probably.
We don't know.
Yeah.
That's the sequel.
What else is Dina going to do? Go fucking non-gay?
This game will get a sequel.
It won't.
This game's getting a sequel.
No,
Oh,
it
yeah.
won't.
It's so prime for
No. No.
Come on.
What can you do?
Well, Yara and Lev do get to the last segments of the Fireflies on the West Coast. So what are they up to? Is there another cure? Is there something else they can do? So you can have a whole game there. You can have a whole game with Ellie. Is she going after Dina now? Is she
God.
Is she going back to
Ellie's
Jackson?
done. No, she's done.
Is it an AJ? Is it an AJ story? You play as the kid, the descendant of Dina and Ellie. There's a lot of ways you can. I think the game's primed for a sequel. I think it leaves that open with.
Where can you go?
I just said 3 potential things.
No.
Maybe a new story. But I think this franchise has been too successful for Naughty Dog. I don't see how they not do another one.
Well, it's been like 6 or 7 years since the last one, right? So
yeah, so you're looking at a game in the middle of the life cycle, mid to end of life cycle of the PS5.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh man, like another thing. I don't want to go too much longer on this, but all that running around for those fucking Scar kids.
You don't like Yara and Lev.
I like them, but like too much running around.
But you need to build the Abby character. You need to show that she has empathy and that she's willing to go along a ride with these randos.
Yeah.
Especially when they're Scars, which is literally the exact opposite of the faction you are.
But you know how I took that, how I perceived that as a player was 2 parts. Was Abby was having these troublesome dreams where, and troublesome times where she didn't feel like a morally righteous character. So that's why she started putting more attention to these Scars. Like she'd have the dream where the 2 kids were hanging. She's like, oh, I feel guilty. I have to go back. And then you have that pregnant girl who's like, you're a bitch and you're a terrible person. That was one side of it. And that's more of the obvious side. But the other side was Owen was always the guy who had a lot of sympathy for Scars.
The turncoat.
Yeah.
He kind of went on his own. He was hiding on the yacht, you know?
I loved Owen, man. I really did. I wanted if
a lot
Abby
of people don't like him.
If Abby was gonna go out and do all this crap, why couldn't it have been like somehow for him instead of these random kids? Like to me, like part of it was her trying to, because Owen was like, oh yeah, I couldn't shoot this Scar. Like I'm done fighting. Part of it was her trying to say, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore either. I'm with you. I'm with you on this one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I liked the connection they had. I felt for it, and I wish they could have played on it more. Mm-hmm. But she instead risked life and limb and all this crap for these random kids. And fuck the Lev guy. Fucking fucks off to go get his mom and screws the whole project up. Kills his sister in the process. And probably kills fucking Owen and the pregnant girl.
And again, lots of criticism online about more forced social messaging. You know, like let's make a trans character too.
I didn't even know.
We got a lesbian, and now we're gonna do a trans character.
Nick,
because I didn't
I didn't realize.
Well,
Dell told me, she's like, oh, so he's a trans. I'm like, what?
Well, when they explain that comment where they give you roles in that society, and they chose him to be a woman, or not a woman, but like a homebody.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
I didn't even clue in.
I didn't even clue in either, but then when someone mentioned on the internet, I looked at it in retrospect, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's what they were implying. Because they don't want to make it too forced, you know? Mm-hmm. To beat you over the head with it. So they kind of subtly say that.
Yeah.
And that's so it's like, okay, so you can just see them going like, all right, let's get a trans character, get some lesbians.
And a giant, jacked woman.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
An impossibly strong ox of a woman.
Yeah. So,
but I don't have any criticisms on that front. It's just... I will say this. My problem the Dina thing I didn't feel a very strong connection.
I don't think she wasn't one of the better side characters. Like like the Jessies and the Owens were better side characters. You had comedic relief from people like Manny. Like those characters spoke more to me than a Dina.
Yeah.
She was more just a plot element, something Ellie has to, contrast the revenge story, right? You got the revenge on one side, your girlfriend on the other side. Where do you stand on that? They're outweighing each other, both polar opposites.
I thought maybe it would be interesting if Dina had more of a voice on the other shoulder, so to speak, like revenge on one shoulder, and Dina's over here, like, maybe we
tried
should. Well, it was a little
left,
late
right?
though. No. I mean, like while they were in Seattle, like maybe it's time to go. Like she should have piped up a bit more. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like Jesse was kind of implying that, right? Jesse was almost her voice. Like by Seattle Day 2, he was like, "Hey, like maybe we ought to just cut our losses. Like if you don't find him today, like we should head back tomorrow." And she'd sneak out on her own at night, and you have to do those solo missions with her, right? Yeah. So I guess she was going through labor, so he was kind of her messenger at that point. I think that's the purpose he served until he got schmacked in the head.
Oh God.
So. Yeah, I mean, I got just a couple things to shut out if you're done shitting on this game.
It was so disappointing.
What did you think of the Sarah fights? I thought this was a very cool enemy design. All the whistling, the poisonous arrows, the island you get to visit, the notes scattered around. I liked this kind of cult thing.
They were very they were very believable. Like I could see that kind of faction growing in a world like this. I liked them a lot. I didn't have any problem with the groups and the politics that were going on between the wolves and the scars and that kind of thing. That was really well played out, and I like the war between them, and
how Ellie's caught in the middle of it.
Like that was really neat.
And you're
slowly
was really learning
neat.
more about them. The only flaw I'd say, and maybe this will be DLC or the next game, is you don't really find out about their leader. Remember, you keep finding that
the woman,
the statues, the paintings.
Yeah.
In film, we call that a MacGuffin. It's something that is constantly named, something that like they're clearly drawing your attention to, but at the end of the day, it ends up just being meaningless.
Right.
Like there's no payout. It's a MacGuffin. So she was kind of the MacGuffin of the story. So. I don't know. Maybe they explore that in a later DLC or a later game, but I just found that odd. I thought we were going to see her maybe on the island when you went there,
Yeah.
She never popped up.
Some sort of appearance.
Never popped up.
Right.
Like you see Isaac die, but you never really see what happens with her.
Part of me almost thinks that she started, like, she had that act of, like, I think what she did was, like, attack a wolf caravan or something. And then maybe she died. Like, maybe she's already dead. And they just worship the idea.
I'd love to get an answer from the drunken men about that, but we don't know.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I don't know. You like again going back to pacing and stuff. Like I just love set pieces, and I think Naughty Dog just again knocks the ball out of the ballpark with this. Like I told you, 3 missions I wanted to watch. I wanted the Sarah fight mission in the forest. I wanted to see you fight through. Like that's awesome. That's such a like you're going prone in those high leaves, and you got the Seraphites whistling, and it's so intense. It's such a well-designed scene. That ends with Ellie like smacking the shit out of that chick in that red room, where you're forced to like smack her.
Oh, I hated that, man. I hated that. That bothered me.
It was intense.
Yeah.
And then you had that Sub-Zero mission where you got to fight that big alien in that area. I thought that was cool. The island sequence when you're escaping and it's everything's ablaze and you got the Civil War going on and you're just this third party who wants to get the hell out of there with Lev while they're waging this war. Like climbing the tower with Lev, she's scared of heights. She doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. I thought the first 3 hours, pacing wise, were awesome. Like super intense, going from one character to the next.
They were great.
They do a good job with the set pieces. This is Sony's best developer at their highest level in my mind. with these
Nick,
set pieces.
I think if they were to like the
And we
Ellie
get to go to
story aside,
California. I did not see that coming. We get to go to California.
the Ellie story aside, if like there was a lot of fat in this that I thought they could have trimmed.
Okay.
You know, like a lot of the there was long slogs of clearing levels after levels. If they were to trim the fat by like 8 hours, it
Make it more like the first game, which was only 10 to 15
Yeah.
hours as opposed to a 25 hour. But it
did drag on.
But
It
again,
dragged on.
it's all there for a reason, right? You got to develop the Abby character, right? You
Yeah.
You got to give her 10 hours.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
got to give Ellie her 10, and that's the only way you can flesh out. That's what the director's going for, that dynamic, that contrast. And the only way you do that is by spending your time with one, spending your time with the other. If it's too rushed, then you risk maybe compromising what the guy's going for.
Yeah.
So you
There was a
look
bit
at
of
it that way.
fat. There was a bit of fat. There was a bit.
I don't know,
and
man.
if you
I
lo-
enjoyed
and if you
every-
love
I
the
enjoyed every second of it.
if you love the gameplay, then you won't mind it.
Yeah, and I think
But-
as a guy who's into like his Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay, my stealth and my taking out guys quietly, and what am I going to do here? Am I going to set a trap here? Am I going to use the bow? Am I going to go guns blazing with the flamethrower? Like I like the crafting mechanics. I always did in this game. I like when you go to a workbench. Sometimes enemy will surprise you. Like you think you're safe. There's that one scene where you think you're safe and the guy gets behind you. Like subtle little things like that. I'm just like, wow. I gotta tip my cap to the designer there. Like that was cool. Yeah. I don't know. The whole concept of a journal, the upgrades I thought were fleshed out. I could see some people being like tired as fuck when they start playing as Abby and they see their whole upgrade tree and it's a whole new thing you have to now develop.
Yeah.
That being like, fuck, here we go again. Like lots of people
Yeah.
complaining about that, but I don't know, man. I'm paying $90 for this game. 25 hours is fair for me. You know, it's not too long. It's not a Witcher 100-hour. It's not a 6-hour Call of Duty campaign. I was fine with the length. We done?
Yeah.
So you got a 6.5 out of 10 for The Last of Us Part 2.
Bump it up to a 7.
You get a bump.
You convinced me to
worked
go to
some
a
magic.
7.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did something here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you have it. For me, it's Sony's most. It's their best first party exclusive they've released. I will be playing Ghosts of Tsushima in the next few months. So hopefully you get a review on that. I heard good things about that, so we'll see where that stacks up. But I mean, I don't really see like a. I mean, yeah, like as far as first party exclusives, what game would you say is better than The Last of Us 2? I guess you like the first Last of Us more.
I like that more. I like
Horizon?
many of. I didn't play that.
Oh, you
I didn't play it all. I like many of the Uncharted's more. I'd say.
Many of the Uncharted's. Okay.
Yeah. I'd have to.
You liked obviously Red Dead more.
Oh, way
That
more.
stuck with you more.
Way. Like in
You
Red
like The
Dead,
Witcher
I
way
in
more.
Red Dead I cried. This game I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
You like The Witcher way more.
Way more. See, man, like you have to add in a little bit of like comic relief. Like in Witcher, every so often you get something funny would happen.
Yeah.
You'd have it.
this
Have it,
game's
crack
dark.
a joke.
This game's fucking dark.
It's relentless. It's like emotionally draining, man.
That's why I said The Diary, right?
I couldn't fucking play it for more than an hour without like getting depressed. I got so much the killing upon killing and violence and sadness and this horrible
Killing
things happening.
dogs.
Yes, that was a big criticism online.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it. I didn't bother. I didn't mind.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a dark game. It's not for everybody.
No,
I could see some people just being like, "This is too much for me." So the kids should stay away. But
it's bold. It's a bold.
It's unprecedented, and you gotta salute it for that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do from here. I predict a sequel. You maybe not so much, but we'll see here moving forward what they do. So, with that said, it's past midnight on our end here in the Markham studio. We hope you enjoyed a Rink Moose first, our video game review discussion of The Last of Us Part 2. Longer than I anticipated, but well earned. And back to the topic at hand. We hope you enjoy this conference final. We hope it's a long one. We hope the Islanders can fight, give it a fight, and I get my $1,000. But time will tell. So, unless there's anything else to add, Kyle, I think I've said my piece.
Draft talk is going to be coming back.
Yeah, we'll
in the
see.
near future.
Yeah, we just got news that the draft is taking place the same night as our first game for 3-on-3.
We don't know what we're going to do yet.
Yeah, maybe we walk, like, maybe...
Tape it.
Yeah, maybe you tape it, just then you can't interact with the Twitter as I know you like to, especially for draft stuff.
Yeah.
But you may have to tape it, stay off the internet, and then watch it.
We
right?
could still technically do a semi-live reaction.
How?
Well, just film us like we're
After
watching
the fact.
live.
Yeah, after the fact.
But we don't post it live anyways.
No,
we
yeah,
post it the
exactly.
next
So
day or
it's
whatever.
doable. We just have to find a way of watching it repeated. Like, we'd have to subscribe to Sportsnet Now for like a day, pay the $10
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
So it's doable. We'll see what the appetite is then. I myself am heading back to Kingston. So I think our final play and our tournament episode will be remote, and then I'll be back for the draft for sure, as we'll have hockey then. So expect our next episode for the start of the next round. It'll be remote, so bear with us. We'll need some time to get things going there. I have a new apartment in Kingston, so we'll see what the confines and the technical situation is there. Always some curveballs thrown my way. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope you guys tune in for our remote episode in a couple of weeks from now. So enjoy the final round. It's been a greeting serving you yet again. And until next time, Rink Moose is signing off.